Okay. Thought I would get the jump on my microphone by turning it on my Stream Deck, and it didn't work. The fuck is technology? Hello everybody, welcome to the Rogue Room. I am your host, Abigail. What's going on? Welcome back. I'm not quite sure I like that there. I don't know if I want to change it or not. It's been a couple of days off that I wasn't planning on not streaming, but, you know, things being what they are, life being what it is, I had to take the last 2 days off for various reasons. Hello, Jake. How's it going? How goes it? Oh. Well, yeah, I forget what the problem was on Thursday night. I couldn't stream Thursday night. But I was meant to. And then yesterday was a whole fucking adventure, let me tell you. You're so fucking glad you follow me on Insta now. Well, I'm glad too, Broken. I'm glad too. Any particular reason? Also, I just want to tell you something. How does this look? I don't know, do I like the ring light on? No. You know what? I'm going to take the ring light out of the equation here. Which means the ring light that I purchased specifically for that reason, just to cast light on my face, is now going to be completely useless. I did buy another smart light though. I'll show you that. Like, I got another smart light. I had a lamp that I could stick it in, so I was just like, yeah, let's grab another one. Have some light coming on me from this angle, because I noticed there was a in the past stream that I did from this particular angle, this whole side of my face was just cast in shadow, and it looked really weird. So, $30. These smart lights are fantastic, by the way. I love them. I'm gonna get some light strips and stuff, and I want to put it on that bed frame, but I have to ask my sister because it's technically hers. Hello, Arkham Spider Knife. How you doing? What's going on? Posture check on the subject. Oh, on the subject of posture checks, my shoulder. I just popped an ibuprofen because my shoulder back here, for reasons unbeknownst to me, is aching like fuck. Anyway, maybe I could rub this amethyst on it that I bought. That'll probably do something. Anyway, no, it won't. Crystals do jack fucking shit. I did like your image, yes. Your girlfriend's having a tough time with the transition. Why is that? Do tell. It was a good meme. It was a good meme. So yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, yesterday was a really fucking big day, and I would have gone live. I actually, like, right around the time that I would have normally gone live, I started to sort of mellow out after a day of, like, what happened was my family and I think I posted some photos online somewhere, or I posted a photo of me on Twitter. That's it. I posted a photo of me at the art gallery. We went to the art gallery, we went to the museum, we went and saw dinosaurs and shit. Actually, I think I posted images in the Discord, but effectively, what it boils down to is we walked around. There's a few photos in the Discord in the assorted media section. It doesn't really cover the entire spectrum of what we did, but the specific situation is more, you know, we drove for 2 hours to get into the city, and then walked around both the museum and the art gallery. The whole day was just filled with constant walking all the fucking time and eating entirely too much food. I have significantly cut today's calories down to make up for yesterday, because I'm sure I ate in excess of 4,000 calories from breakfast to lunch alone. And then I punished myself by barely eating anything. Oh no, actually no, you know what? I was really bad last night. I was really fucking bad last night after everything. After eating everything, I ordered delivery McDonald's at like 10 o'clock at night. Oh my god, I'm atrocious. So I'm trying to make up for that now. The week ahead needs to be serious cut mode. We're going into cut mode for at least a week or two. I'm gonna bring my calories way the fuck down, get back down to 70 kilos. But you know what, it was nice? It was nice being in the city. It was nice seeing all their artwork and stuff like that. That was really good. A lot of stuff I had never... Like, you know what really gets me is the frames. Frames and marble sculptures. You're a mate, girl. Fucking perfect way to say you're Aussie. It's true. I don't even like the phrase mate. I don't even say it, but I thought it was good for the meme on Twitter. She lives in a religious house. Oh no, that's not good. I can't imagine. I can't imagine living in a religious family. Hello, what's going on, boss? Hey, boss. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? We're just chilling. We're catching up. We're doing a catch up. Because I wasn't live yesterday or the day before. Hey, boss. What was it? Yeah. This is haram. What does haram mean? I don't know what haram... I miss Filthy Frank too. I do. I regret that I found Filthy Frank right at the tail end of his career. So there was only a few times where I was like, oh, new Filthy Frank upload. And then he uploads the last video that he ever uploaded to that channel, and then it was all Joji from there on out. And I'm like, dude, it's a certain kind of pain. I know you can go back and rewatch the content, but the fact that we're not getting Filthy Frank's take on the world today is what stings. You know, that's what gets me. Hydration time, I need that. Where am I from? Australia. Specifically purple Australia, as you can tell. Divorcing a Mormon woman, you know all about living in a religious family. I'm female. To clarify that, what was I saying about the religious thing? My friend, a good friend of mine, in fact, him and his cousin, who are both good friends of mine, Very, very religious family, that one. Lots of siblings, so there's lots of cousins and all. There's a lot of people in that family. And I've been in their households in various occasions, and it's such a distinct departure from what I am used to, from having a secular upbringing. There was never any religious imagery all over the house. This is the thing, it's like, anytime I would go to these distinctly religious households, it was religious imagery everywhere. Pictures of Jesus, statues of Jesus. The kids would have their own crosses, and there'd be Bibles just sitting on the coffee table. I don't even know if they read them. I need to go back and reread. I've read most of the Bible, but I do need to go back and reread that and other religious texts, honestly, in terms of having that knowledge behind me. What state? A state of perpetual insanity, quite frankly. If you ever buy a cross, it will be to hang it upside down. You know what's funny? Is the idea of the upside down hanging cross is not inherently satanic or devilish or evil incarnate. It's St. Peter's cross. I think it's St. Peter's cross. It's hilarious. How many people look at the upside down cross thing and like think it's satanic imagery, and it's not. It's just, I believe one of them was actually crucified upside down. Let me look it up. What is it actually? Cross of St. Peter, yeah. Traditionally used as a Christian symbol, it is associated with the martyrdom of Peter the Apostle. The symbol originates from the Catholic tradition. When his sentenced to death, Peter requested that his cross be upside down, as he felt unworthy of being crucified in the same manner as Jesus. The Petrine cross is also associated with the papacy, reflecting the Catholic belief that the Pope is the successor of Peter as Bishop of Rome. There you go. So, it would be amusing, but the problem is, you love my emotes. You do? I mean, I like them, but I want to update them. Thank you. I am in New South Wales, although I don't like to go too far into details of where I live, because, like, people like to dox folks. Actually, we'll get into that later. There is a topic I want to talk about at length about the concept of parasocial relationships. We are going to talk about that later. I've got some notes on that very thing of people who get a bit too close to streamers. It's a topic I've been thinking about recently, because I've seen it happen, and it's been talked about a bit on social media a few times. The idea that people look at streamers especially, due to the interactivity of it. We'll get back into that in a minute. We'll come back around to that. You know, being religious and LGBT, honestly, there has to be, honestly, there has to be some kind of cognitive disconnect for people who are LGBTQ+ and heavily religious, because it does, well, common social perception of most religious institutions makes them come across as extremely homophobic, queerphobic in general, right? So when you see someone who is queer and yet devoutly religious, it makes you wonder what kind of, I want to say mental gymnastics, but that feels insulting. That's not really what I'm going for. Like, you need to twist your method of thinking about your religion to be both outwardly identify as queer and still think, yep, I am a God-fearing Catholic or something.
The Rogue Room appreciates your recommendation.
My alerts are over there now. Whoops. Thank you for the host. How you doing, dude? How's it going? Excuse me.
The Rogue Room appreciates your
Tig.
recommendation.
Thank you so kindly for the hosts, folks. Hope you've been doing well. Hope you've been having a good one. How am I doing? I'm doing alright. I'm doing alright. I don't know what I did, but like right before stream, I'm getting... It almost doesn't feel muscular. Whatever this pain is, like here, in the back, in my shoulder area, I haven't moved it in a certain way or anything. I don't know what's wrong with it. That's the only thing. I'm like, I have a pain. And it's not muscular. I don't know what it is, but it's not muscular. I know muscular pain. No, I wouldn't have torn a muscle, trust me. I would know. Oh, it sort of like comes up to here. Could be respiratory, actually, which is not good. We don't want respiratory issues. No, thank you. A lot of Catholics may as well be LGBTs. Well, yeah, there is that whole passage in the Bible that a lot of people will recite as an anti-gay sentiment, a homophobic sentiment, which was originally written to refer to men laying with boys, not men laying with other men. But they changed that around, funnily enough. Leviticus. There are streamers you consider friends in the sense that you like talking to them, you enjoy their company, you like watching your streams, but you wouldn't fucking, yeah, you wouldn't dox or show up to my house, exactly. Like, that's kind of bad, don't do that. But there are, you know, we will get into that topic more heavily shortly. Facebook went down today. Did it really? I didn't notice. Seemed to be fine for me. Although I'm perpetually online. I have a really bad habit of not getting off the internet. I should have been doing some work today on the next video. I'm still, like, trying to figure out, We'll talk about the next video thing in a minute. You like my new room setup? I like it too, thank you. It's pretty chill in here. I like it. It's cool. It feels like my own homey space now, you know? And regretfully, I can't even do the green screen thing anymore for the time being. I might take this old thing, right? You see this old thing here. Let me just turn my me off for a second. You see this scene, right? You see this? I might actually turn this into my starting soon screen. If we get rid of the logo, or we'll keep the logo maybe. So just get rid of everything. And add some new text to this backdrop. And I might turn this into my starting soon screen, because I quite like this scene. More so than I like my... I might actually fiddle with the colors a bit. But yeah, I love that scene, quite honestly. Oh yeah, hi friends. There we go, we'll turn that on. We'll turn the chat box back on. Because yeah, I love the clouds backdrops. I do. I'm just not a fan of the colors. Like, the colors are too washed out. I want them to be more vivid. Kind of like how vivid the colors on the logo are, honestly. The colors on the logo are really vivid. I'd like to sort of emulate. Oh, we can't do invert. I can do invert for a moment. I can invert this briefly, but it's very difficult to do so. That's not it. That's gamma. Although that kind of makes it look cool, doesn't it? Look at that. That's fucking sick, dude. But we'll... Oh, you know what? I've already got a... That is a vibe. I could deal with that. I've already got a color correction scene here. What does this one do? If I turn... Oh, hello. Hello. That's a hue shift. No, I didn't. I wasn't done with it. This is what it'll look like filtered, right? If we turn the contrast... Nope, that didn't. That's chroma key. Turn that. That's not the one. Hello, Kaz. How you doing? You lovely, lovely person, you. I keep closing my filters menu. Oh my god. Okay, that's not it. There we go. That's how you do it. Contrast. That's what it looks like inverted. I'm gonna have to reconsider those particular rewards, because the way that things are set out now, they're not quite done. So I need to go back and revise those. So ignore those ones for now. I might turn those off for the time being, because yeah, it makes it difficult. Yeah, it's very bright, very bright. I mean, it's all very dark like this. So it gets that way. It gets a bit like that, but I do want to fiddle around with maybe some ideas of, say for example, doing this, right? I'm tempted to try this out, but the problem is I have to do all of this manually if I wanted to. Look at that, with pink. But like, I could do this, but then I have to configure every light manually. Excuse me. We got green over here. We could set this one to yellow. This looks like shit, honestly. Hang on a sec. Where's... No, I want my colors back. I want my bisexual lighting back. Thank you. This is not... You gotta rebalance a bit, mate. You're not in the right color scheme. You're too blue. I messed up something. Oh, you know what? I think it's this. There we go. That'll balance it. Perfect. Technical efforts. You remember on Doom you accidentally turned the gamma to full and it was pitch black. Hello, Glass, by the way. Will be your biscuits exploding? What do you do with your biscuits, Kez? One donated blood, and while they were out doing a service to the world, someone slipped into their garage and nicked their push bike. Oh no! Okay. Oh, you mentioned that. Yes, your push bike. Yes, I'm so sorry. Hey, Jickets, how you doing, dude? What's going on? Welcome in. I hope you're having a good one. Just assume whatever lighting used by streamers is natural lighting and no filters are used, dude. I'm trying to think. I'm imagining. At some point in the near future, maybe, you'll be able to take, for example, let's just do this. Let's go and make things a little bit exciting. Boom! Where's all the lights go? Oh, hey, that looks cool as fuck, actually. You could take a photo that's like this, right? I imagine at some point in the future, you could take a photo that looks like this, right? Which is very crisp and clear and all that sort of stuff. And then add a filter in some program. Just click a button with a filter and boom, you got this. I imagine we're not far off the tech for that. I don't know how exactly it would work, but I imagine we're not far off the tech for that. Hello, Azera, how you doing? Your other transfer into streaming, OW. Nice, nice. Who do they main? I haven't played Overwatch in a hot minute. Who do they main? Honestly, I feel like I would go hard on trying to play Genji if I went back to Overwatch. Because Ghost Runner and the mercenary in... What's it called? Risk of Rain 2. I like the stupid ninja characters now. I get into weeby characters in video games now. I mean, I got Sekiro standing over there. You could just faintly see him at the end of that shelf. You could see him like there's his sword. His sword there. So I like that. Dash around the environment with the katana character. How am I? I'm well, aside from a bit of soreness in my arm, in my shoulder. I don't know what I've done. Luckily, tomorrow is rest day, but it's also morning tea with the family day, which means I'm probably going to pack on more kilos with carbohydrates. I'm trying to, like yesterday, we'll go over this again. I spent, well, I didn't spend much money. I spent like maybe $50 across the entire day, but a lot of money was spent on me and my children and the rest of us who are out there perusing the city, going to art galleries, museums, cafes. We went to a nice restaurant in the Australian Museum, I believe it was. And I had rosé with lunch, but I ate entirely too much. Again, just a ballpark estimate, 4,000 plus calories yesterday, easily. Which is a lot of calories for someone who's trying to lose weight. Perpetually trying to lose weight. So, it's not fun. So now I gotta, you know, switch gears, get back into reverse, get back into where I was going. You want to be a twink again in Overwatch? Hang on. Won't talk about trying to combine the fizzy drink with the butter and the flour. Wait, what? Full of Kirk's lemon squash? What in the world? He had an eating disorder in high school. That's very unfortunate, actually. I don't know how to react to that. That's really, like, I've never had the experience of actually having had an eating disorder, so I can't relate to it. But I do know it's it's very, very difficult. And it's very difficult to break the habit as well. People don't talk about male eating disorders. This is true. This is very true. People don't talk about when... Well, I mean... I think to a point... Oh, sorry if I'm peeking the mic. Sorry, I'm yelling a bit. I think to a point, at least in my experience, living life both as a woman now and as a man before, there was a bit of a situation occasionally of people saying to me, "You look like you could eat some more," but I never felt like I was particularly thin and lean before, like nowhere near what I am now. I don't know what it is that transition kicked my brain into gear and said to me, "You need to get lean," which was something I had been putting off for the longest time because I would work out, and I guess this was kind of an eating disorder in its own way, or rather just simply disordered eating. I would tell myself previously that I was fine to eat anything I want, no calorie limits, because I was going to the gym and I was lifting and I was building muscle, and that was the goal, right? So I convinced myself I could eat whatever I wanted, which is a bad idea. Don't do that. But yours is apparently the opposite. Starving and such. Posture check, yeah. I know it looks like I have bad posture. I swear I don't. Let's straighten our backs up. And drop my chair down a little bit. No, I don't need to do that. I do need, however, I bought some new lights. Some basically rip-off key lights, right? And I need to set them up. I've got clamps for them to attach them to a desk, but for those who don't know, I don't actually have a desk. I have a trestle table. And the trestle table does not hold the clamps well because it's soft plastic, basically. It's very, very pliable. Not worth clamping things to. So, one of my big stream goals, aside from this, I am trying to raise funds for a new camera. A new streaming camera. I've got 2 Logitech C922s that are good, but my goal right now is a very expensive camera with high fidelity streaming quality. When your mother was alive, she was all about losing weight and working out and fad diets. It affected you a little bit, but your poor baby sister, who unfortunately got her grandmother's genes, has a lot of self-image issues, which sucks badly because that girl can dance. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it's... The whole body image situation that a lot of people experience is, of course, heavily influenced by the types of bodies we see in marketing, more often than not. The types of bodies we see all around on advertising, billboards and television, and people that are represented in movies and things like that. The kinds of bodies that are portrayed as ideal definitely informs people's perceptions of how they should look. And unfortunately, a lot of the time that manifests in those eating disorders, which can... what's the best way to phrase this? Like, people will think if they starve themselves, they're going to end up looking like whoever the current hot model is, hot pop star, I don't know. You look at Insta and say you wish you looked like that in terms of being actually fucking fit. So you know you need to work out, eat healthier. Yeah. I mean, I have had that problem in the past, using Instagram as an influence. And that was, again, where I got that idea from, of I could eat whatever I want and I'm packing on muscle. No, I wasn't. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. I've lost a ton of muscle, by the way. My muscle has atrophied so fucking bad since being on estrogen. And I've got my medication here. I'm not going to show it because it's got... Well, fortunately, it's got my dead name on it. There's that. So I don't have to actually look at it. I mean, it's not fortunate because I don't like looking at his name. But, you know, it's a dead name. Unfortunately, she's always doomed to be a bigger girl because of genetics. But honestly, she's gorgeous and belongs on the stage or making music because she's talented. Well, that's good. It isn't an, oh god, I'm worthless, but I don't look like that. It's more of a, fuck, I need motivation to work the fuck out. Yeah. There's a difference between finding motivation in different types of bodies and becoming obsessed with the idea. Fitness. Fitness and diet. Yeah, there's definitely a difference between being interested in being healthier, slimmer, or leaner, I suppose. Like, leaner is a better word because that refers more to being able to have visible muscle and things like that. There's a difference between trying your best to look as good as you can versus trying your best to be as slim as humanly possible. Excuse me. For the sake of social acceptance points, I suppose. You just want to be at a healthy weight. That becomes a tricky area as well, too. Obviously, there are many health issues that are tied to weight. There are many health issues that are tied to weight, but apparently the BMI system, and I need to do more research on this, is a bit flawed. What you consider your healthy weight, like for my body specifically, is allegedly between 70 and 77 kilos, which makes it my healthy weight range. But I still want to be slimmer than I am, and I'm considering dropping some of my muscle workouts again to try to honestly just let my muscles atrophy even further, get weaker for the sake of getting leaner. But maybe that's not a good idea because I like lifting weights. I do. Bit of an addiction. Hello, Soul Reaper. How you doing? I think you're off to a good start with replacing your Macca's lunches with quiche and veggies. That is a good start. That is a good start. Like, I mean, cutting out the bad foods in your diet is always a good thing. Focusing more on whole foods, focusing more on prepared meals. That's always a good thing. Like, if you're cutting out the excessively greasy fast food, which in its own way, not even just for the health reasons, is sociologically and psychologically designed to keep you coming back and to keep fattening you up, because that's what they want. 570 days, 575 days without a ciggy, that's also good. It's fantastic. You smoked for years, you're not sure when, if that'll catch up to you. It's hard to say with smoking. It's hard to say with smoking because there are definitely people who have smoked every single day of their life and have lived to like 95 and have had minimal health issues. Don't ask me the fuck how. The human body is an anomaly, okay? Same with drinking. Actually, that's become a thing with certain people who drink quite severely. I believe Lemmy from Motorhead was drinking something like a bottle or two of whiskey per day. And towards his dying days, he actually started culling that back a bit. And I have the suspicion that him cutting his alcohol intake down, not completely cutting it off, his body was used to the alcohol intake, and it just fucked him up, and he died. Blood was so dirty they couldn't do a transfer. You mean Lemmy? Is that what you mean? You've been an alcoholic, you're saying I'll live forever. Well, no, but that story of Lemmy in that particular circumstance, I've heard very, very similar things for elderly patients living in nursing homes, where they'll get admitted to a nursing home and they're like 89. They're really old, but they've been drinking every single day of their life. They've been drinking as much as possible. They are intrinsically an alcoholic. And they take the alcohol away from the old man or woman or whatever. And they die shortly after, because their body just rejects the fact that there's no alcohol entering their system anymore. Which is kind of crazy to me. Kind of a weird concept, that your body can become so dependent on something that it's inherently bad for it. But at the moment you stop taking that thing, it can kill you. Such dirty blood. Oh, gosh. That's awful to think about, but... Brother's husband is a chronic smoker, as is his whole family, and his parents are still alive. Hurts you to think about. Yeah. Like, we shouldn't normalize... We definitely shouldn't normalize explicitly unhealthy behaviors like smoking and drinking and drug use and all that sort of stuff. I still do 100% believe in the decriminalization of all drugs across the board. If people want to destroy their bodies, they can go ahead and do it in a legal sense, as long as they're not harming anyone else. But, of course, you know, you have to consider the impact it has on everyone else around you, I suppose. Which is kind of... Like, this is not really a special thing. I wasn't trying to be sober this year. Let's get this out of the way. But I didn't drink any alcohol until a few days ago. For this year. Like, the last alcohol I had was New Year's Eve, and then it was like a couple days ago I had some more to drink. The thing that I'm actually trying to completely stop myself from drinking again is the energy drinks, which we're not 100% certain on the effects of those things. And I had been drinking them daily for years. Big cans, 500 mils, lots of stuff in them, and it definitely got to the point where if I took a day off drinking them, I would be completely physically exhausted. Which is really weird. And now, like, it's only been 23 days. Well, no, my last one was on the 2nd, sorry. So it's only been 21 days since I had an energy drink, and I feel better, but I am switching to coffee. Coffee and tea, which is arguably better. I do drink coffee as a pre-workout, just black coffee, which is it's a whole thing, because, you know, you can spend $50 on C4 and get yourself a really good pump at the gym, but it's $50 to buy that shit and be like, ugh, yuck. Last time you had one was like 10 months ago. That's my goal. I want to go without them. I remember I went for a good long while there without KFC as well. I just cut that out of my diet for a good period of time. Didn't go back to it. I think I'm going to try to do that with fast food and stuff as well, gradually. I did dip into it yesterday, which was pretty bad. I had McDonald's twice. But I am going to try to, like, get that out of my diet, focus more on meal prep this year, if I can. I did a bit of it earlier. I did some, like, pre-cooked chicken strips, and then I would make wraps out of them, which was pretty good, but I really want to get into actual proper meal prep soon. Can I shout out to Pepsi Max? Pepsi Max is alright. Pepsi Max is okay. And Coke No Sugar is good. That's not bad. Then the years had no alcohol or caffeine for 13 years. Sometimes it feels like you're owed a ciggy. Find another addiction. Find something that's good. Find an addiction that's good for you. Drink sparkling water with lemon in it. That's good. That's nice. Sparkling mineral water. You find yourself craving the general taste. That was how I used to justify it to myself. That was how I used to justify it to myself, with saying stuff like, I like the taste of the energy drinks. They don't actually affect me. And that's kind of a really big bad sign. Also, Soul Reaper, I just noticed you said you used to have 5 cans a day at your peak. Good lord. That's ridiculous. I remember a friend who, and this is the thing, like, he was shorter in stature than me. You know, less overall body mass, this guy. Who used to drink, and I was at my worst, I would drink 2 big cans throughout the entirety of a day. And he was routinely he would tell me he is routinely consuming 4 packs of these big cans, and I'm like, dude, it's fucking ludicrous. They're drinking 4 packs of Monster, you know? Where did I get that medal? It's an amethyst. Although, if you can see it, I have my Witcher medallion for killing monsters. That one's good. Which is right next to my Bloodborne Hunter for some reason. I don't know why that's up there. I haven't watched Steven Universe. I honestly have no interest in it. I'm kind of over that entire style of show at this point. Especially the Cal Arts art style. I'm like, ew. Somebody did try to get me with a, what's it called? Yeah, I'm a lesbian too. Stop. I suck pussy, not dick. Not that I have, mind you. Like, this is really deeply personal. Since starting HRT, even perhaps a bit before, my sex drive has been completely dead. Completely and totally dead. It's honestly such a relief. The horny gene is gone. I'm thankful for that. Dead inside, just like you. I like it though. I like, you know, not having that distraction, quite frankly. Is a show that let each director draw in their own style. I see. It's amazing for a US animated show. I don't know, I never got into it, and at this point, I don't give myself the time or the patience to watch shows. I find, I'm reading The Capital now, by Karl Marx, because I go on about Marxism all the time, and I know the basic theory behind Marxism, but I've never actually read the cunt's work, so I'm fixing that. I'm reading The Capital, and then I'm reading the Communist Manifesto. And then, next thing I'm going to be working on is... Well, actually, I want to get into some feminist literature next. My mother's got a bunch of feminist books that I want to read, which will come up soon in some of my work, I think. I'm going to have a new video essay on the way, which is going to involve some of those messages, some of those ideas. Not the Marxist stuff, but I will touch on that in a future video. I think I've got an idea. So let's talk about upcoming projects. Projects. As gay and trans themes, it's infecting kids with those ideals, you know, in a good way. Infect the kids with acceptance and unity. Milo Stewart. Who is Milo Stewart? I've seen that name before. I believe I've seen him in reference to people being actually cancelled, which I still do not 100%. I do not believe. Oh, he, she, they. I don't know. I see the term Milo, and I think of that guy from Treasure Planet. Was it Treasure Planet? Him. I don't know this person. I see the name Milo and I immediately assume masculine. I've been trying to get myself. If I don't know a person, I've been trying to convince myself to use they, them. Why would you be on this stream if you did? True that. But I mean, we see a bunch of people in here all the time who believe that stuff like Steven Universe, and even Adventure Time, which has some huge fucking lesbian themes in it, by the way. They would believe that's, you know, left-wing SJW trash. Seems they use they, them. I genuinely don't know who they are. The whole anti-SJW craze, which was back in the, I feel like it was around 2014 or 2016 was when that big SJW craze anti-SJW craze took off. The Tumblr in action crowd, you know. You're fucking crying your ass off right now. Why is that, Sappy? You got chicky nuggies. Nice, Jeff. Nice. And an effeminate, sensitive, nice male protagonist who's straight, and it's okay that he's that way. Of course it is. Although I do... you dyed your hair pink. Does it look good? Is it good tears? Or is it bad tears? Because did it come out bad or did it come out really good? Why did you bake a fizzy drink? Anyway. I do want to talk about the idea of... Well, actually, you know what? You know what I want to talk about? I want to get rid of this title. I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't like. I'm feeling like I don't like having that there. Because if I make a video and there's a title up there that's not relevant to what we're talking about, and I'm trying to talk about a certain topic and we get into it for like a good 10 minutes, which is the goal right away. Let's get that out of the way now. Is like, I really specifically want to start focusing very heavily on, like I did a video highlight recently on that arguing gender topic, which was received fairly well. And I would like to continue doing videos like that in between my video essay stuff. So I'd like to have videos where we're having these discussions about a topic, about a thing, and sort of draw them out for like half an hour or so, and then I can take them into the highlight editor or into Vegas and cut them down for brevity and upload them. So that's one of my big goals with content creation this year. One thing I want to focus on is that content creation and turning stream content into YouTube content, as well as the video essays on top of that. I know I give myself entirely too much work, but fuck it. It's my channel. I do what I want. And yeah, that particular video, there's another one that's going up soon, I think. Maybe it was about that transports thing. It's like kind of a follow-up to that previous transports debacle that we had. I forget which rule it is, but remember, folks, transports is an instant ban in chat. Unless you're talking positively about it, of course, but they never are. Anywho. They still get shit on a lot. Back when you were closeted, you hated on queer folk.
Thank you for your membership.
Oh my god, Taz and Diane.
Please, enjoy all the delights of the subscriber lounge.
Thank you so kindly for the sub, the subscription, the tier 1. Thank you so kindly. How you doing, lovely? Does a ton of research to back what they're saying. Thanks for that, chat. Oh no, anyway. Thanks for the chat. Well, you're welcome. You're always welcome here. We'll jump over to the sub lounge really quickly. We'll just chill out here for a moment. I don't know how long. I don't know how long we're gonna sit in here for. I haven't figured this whole situation out yet. Did I see Isaac Butterfield's video on Trump? No, I didn't. I'm gonna have to give that a look. Am I gonna have to give that a look? I probably am. Oh god, what has he said? I think I unsubbed from him because he annoys the fuck out of me. He annoys the piss out of my ass. Like, Isaac Butterfield stand-up comedy. Okie dokie. Excuse me. Video on Trump. America has been censored. Would that be the one? His act isn't cute. No, he's a dickhead. I think you chatted with me on stream on your old Twitch account like months ago. Did you? Hello, Duck. How you doing? He is the people who bullied you in high school. Yeah. He's that kind of, like, he's the very epitome of the anti-SJW stereotype. That's the thing. It's like, he's very specifically that kind of person. He's very specifically the kind of person who's like, I don't like this group of people. And what's the best way to phrase it? Like, he tends to go on a lot about vegans, right? He goes on about vegans. He finds the worst examples of obnoxious vegans to make videos reacting to them on. And that's his whole shtick, is he finds someone who he disagrees with some aspect of their personality and just shits on them for 10 minutes, and that's a YouTube video. That's his comedy. And there's no actual humor in it. It's like, it's very clear to me that he's tried his best to get into stand-up comedy, and he's done stand-up comedy shows, but the fact that he has openly admitted in one of his videos that he got turned away from a comedy festival tells me he's not a good fucking comedian. Right? Comedy festivals will take virtually anyone. I've seen a lot of them. What's going on here? Milo Stewart gets bullied. They have good ideas, shit ways of handling it. People hone in on that, even left-wingers disown them. It's actually sad. Feel really bad for them. The only news you're interested in right now is the Shane Dawson, Trisha Paytas, Jeffree Star disaster. Oh god, don't tell me they're going again. Goodness gracious. He goes on about vegans, and you think that's just a meme, to be honest. It's still just a way for him to find something that he disagrees with and like shit on them. And that in itself turns people away from veganism, because they will see people who are, and veganism's not a bad thing, being a vegan is not a bad thing. Vegan foods, like vegan foods are just, by and large, plant-based foods. They're just other variants of foods. You can eat them. You don't need to be an obnoxious vegan to eat vegan. And in fact, it is arguably an ethical stance to take, is to eat vegan. But anywho, that when he goes on about, this is the problem with Isaac Butterfield and people like him, is that when he tends to go on about a certain thing and drag it out for video after video after video, is he definitely turns his, like, it's not comedy. He presents his bigotry, I mean, obviously towards vegans, it's not really bigotry. You can choose to be vegan, that's different. But he does definitely target minorities in some of his videos. And he goes out of his way to target certain people based on facets that he doesn't like. And he plays it up in a comedic way to make it relatable to his audience, who will then go and spew his rhetoric and genuinely believe the things he says, even though they're just like, oh, it's just a meme, bro, it's just a joke, bro. But the reality of the situation is they legitimately believe these things. He legitimately believes these things. He legitimately dislikes certain types of people. He legitimately, I dare say it, the shouty beardy man on YouTube from Australia, from Newcastle, is a white supremacist. And the reason I say he's a white supremacist, no, not Milo Yiannopoulos, Isaac Butterfield. The reason I say he is a white supremacist is because he did a video on Black Lives Matter when it was a hot topic, when it was like, I want to guesstimate 20 odd days after the death of George Floyd, right? He went quiet on this. He went quiet across his YouTube channel until he released this video. And he goes into all of these things, all of these really, this is where you can tell he's right wing, because he gets into this whole thing about the crime statistics. And I think there was also another video he did a little while back. He talked about how George Floyd was no angel, all that kind of shit. And there was another, it was either the same video, it's hard to remember, I haven't watched it in ages, or a different video where he talks about how white people colonizing was a good thing because it's given us the society we have today. That's it. You can cut the mic right there. That's white supremacy. Going on and saying colonial shit's good, white supremacy. Done. You're finished. That's the whole discussion. So for him to go out there and say, I'm not right-wing, I'm not political, blah-de-blah, like, he's one of those I'm not political blokes. One of those guys who has the privilege of saying, I don't care about politics. And if you have the capacity to say, well, I don't want to talk about politics, I don't care about politics, that's a privilege. That is a very distinct privilege that not everybody gets. People like me, our existence is politicized. Thereby, we have to be political. We have to talk about it. So if he makes a joke about trans people, remember the trans Jedi thing? There was another video he did about the Gingers Have No Souls person who went trans for a bit, detransitioned, whole story. And he did the entire shtick of like, oh, I don't care if you're transgender. And don't get me wrong, like this person, the Gingers Don't Have Souls kid, definitely was doing some weird content, but he used that weird content to select transgender people for the sake of this video and say, look at them, they're fucking weird! Even though that's not indicative of all transgender people. And of course he always has to do that thing where it's kind of like saying, no offense, but when he goes, I don't care if people transition, I don't care how you identify, all of that shit is literally just, no offense, not to be racist, not to be homophobic, like you get the point. That's his whole shtick, and that's the whole shtick of many other people. On YouTube, there's a lot of creators who are exactly like this. There are a lot of these contrarian reactionary types. YouTube is absolutely laden with them. You know why? It's an easy format. You get people pissed off at another group of people, you sow division, and all of a sudden, you're raking in the views. You're raking in the dollars, the subscribers. People are going to tune into that shit because it allows them the opportunity to brush away their bigotry and treat it like a joke and say it's not that serious and say it doesn't affect anyone. Meanwhile, a trans woman gets bottled in King's Cross because she has a dick. You know? That's what I'm getting at. Like, these kinds of comedians, these kinds of content creators who do this exact shtick. Especially when they have a wide reach, like Butterfield does. 1.5 million subscribers, I believe it is. Yeah, rage bait gets clicks, absolutely. How do we know things couldn't have been better if colonialism didn't happen? Because look at how fucked things are now. Yeah, true. Like, we don't know a different reality is the situation, but the reality we live in is explicitly based on white supremacist, colonialist actions. It's built on genocide, it's built on hatred, it's built on war, it's built on slavery. The privilege we have today is built on very, very dark things. And to be like, Nacho Girl, hi, how you doing? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're reading history and you are not disgusted, you need to reconsider your stance. There are people who will read a history book and become proud of it. And this is going to come up in a few days. In 3 days' time, we're going to do an Australia Day special. On the 26th, on Tuesday. I'm not going to stream. I'm going to have to put this out there now. I'll tell Calgar after the stream, unless you're in here at the moment, Calgar. I am going to do a Just Chatting stream on Tuesday. And we're going to talk about Invasion Day. We're going to talk about Australia Day. And the whole concept of people being proud of living in Australia. Now, don't get me wrong here. I do enjoy the fact that I live in Australia. There's a lot of benefits to being here. My medicine, for example, my medication, if I were in America, I'd be going broke paying for that shit. I probably wouldn't be able to stream, honestly, given how things are in America. Or if I was in the UK, I wouldn't be on HRT. I'd be on a 60-month waiting list. If I was in the Middle East, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not that intimately familiar with how trans rights are in the Middle East. I do believe there are some countries in the Middle East where they would prefer gay men transition so that they are then straight women rather than being gay. I'm not 100% on that one. 169k hospital bill. You like my hair? Thank you. I'm very self-conscious about my hair, so getting compliments on it is like the biggest thing for me. Can you draw a cute cartoon avatar? Yes. Yes, you can draw a cute cartoon avatar. Hang on, let me bring up your Twitter so I can remind myself. Blah. No, that's not it. That's a dead account, no. What's your Twitter account? I do remember, I think I follow you. But yeah, like the hospital bills in the US are disastrous, daunting. Medical costs. Oh, that's right, yes. That's the one. Bloody people with their different usernames. That's right, yes. Holy crap, you're a hell of an artist. You're an absolute amazing artist. But yes, go ahead, by all means. I've still got Isaac Butterfield's stupid face on my screen. Get rid of him. Ew. Most expensive taxi. Oh yeah, I know. Like, if you get into an accident in the US, if you get into a car accident, this is not relevant to anything for a moment. See the little flashy red lights? That's my Doom Revenant. I just wanted to point that out. His lights are working again. Anywho, you're anti-fuckwit. Well, that's a good way to be. That's a good way to be. American healthcare is a scam in a scam within a scam. American healthcare is absolutely fucked. I mean, this is one of the reasons I would not want to move there in any modern capacity. I think it's you're anyone here, Abby, and then it scrolled off. Had this conversation every year at work since you've started, so you're going to be quiet about this particular topic. About the healthcare thing? Is that what you mean, or something else? Have I missed something? And beat trackers. What do you mean the white supremacy thing? Can you comment on this picture on your Twitter? Well, you'd need to send me the actual link to the tweet. About Australia Day, yeah. I know a fair bit of it, a fair bit about it, but I'm going to bring up some articles, and we are going to go over it. But it is not a productive conversation. You're right. It's like the trans in sports debacle. I'll like it and I'll get back to you. I like that one. I'll come back to it. Please comment on it. What have I got to comment on it? What am I going to comment? What do I say? I don't know what I say. It is fucking stupid. I will say that much. Oh, also, this is my chatting scene thing. I need to fix my border here. This is good meme, thanks. There you go. Don't look at that. That's my notes. Short John, so it is funny. Everyone go like it and comment on it. You're bi? Do you like my lighting then? Because it is very bisexual lighting at the moment. Although it needs more red. I can add more red to it. But I've decided to go the route of... I think this one is magenta. My top light is blue and that one is purple. Yeah, that one's purple. Let's make it red. That's a little bit more bisexual lighting, you know. Gives you a bit more of that vibe. But I'm not. I'm completely the opposite of straight. I'll say that much. I did consider for a time, like, am I pansexual? And we'll come around to that. There's another topic around pansexual stuff that we can talk about tonight that I want to get out of the way. It's related to something. Soul Reaper, thank you for dropping all them links. You gay. If you don't believe me, look at my profile picture. What was I going to say? Well, on the subject, where were we? Yeah. Oh, the Australia Day thing. Yeah, we're gonna have a stream about that. We're gonna talk about the Australia Day thing on Australia Day on the 26th. It's a very heavy topic. A lot of people are not gonna want to talk about it, and it does tend to be a very divisive topic because, again, it brings out it brings out people who are otherwise hiding their nationalism, I would say, because it's obviously native people to Australia who were here for tens of thousands of years before white people showed up. They were doing fine. They had their culture, they had their society. Then them white folks rocked up, and in the past couple of hundred years, shit changed. I do know of They Might Be Giants. As an excuse to eat food and hang out with people. That's what a lot of people see it as, quite frankly. And a lot of the time they ignore the history of the country in favor of, let's celebrate Australia, which is kind of, in its own way, a negative way of doing things. The lyrics are, you are bad, you're insane, you wreck everything you touch, and you're a sociopath, and there's one thing that everything's wondering, when will you die? I see. The same people every year without fail at work, boomers who never speak about it until Murdoch starts rage baiting again. Let's never mention the biscuits again. Okay. I could go for some Anzac biscuits. Those are good. Those are always good. Okay. Oh, my phone's upside down. I was going to change the lights again. Hang on a sec. I got an idea. Let's make it actually bisexual lighting. So we got, I think it's red, purple. We'll change the top light to purple. Or magenta in this case because it's more vivid. And then blue over here. There we go. How's that? How's this vibe? This good? I think it's too pink. It's too bright. I might go back to my other lights in a moment. Pink, purple, and blue, not red. Oh, okay. Where am I based? In Australia. What am I looking at? Hang on, I feel like I missed something. Did I miss something? No? Okay. Where were... Oh, yeah, I see it now. Oh, it is pink, yeah. But the pink... well, the magenta, that's that one. That's on magenta right now. So, like, if I show you... I'll show you exactly how the lights look. I think I'm going to go back to my other color scheme. Like, if I turn these ones off... for example, this is what the magenta looks like. Which is the pinkest it's going to get. If I set it to... actual pink, I can't find it now. Heliotrope? There is a color that's listed as actual pink in here, and it doesn't look quite good. So, that all aside, I like my blue, purple, magenta color scheme. Loving the headband, thank you. I need more of these. The headband is an essential part of my personality, quite frankly. When did I first not like Australia Day? I've not liked it for a long time. Soul Reaper and Broken. There you go. Lovely. I have not liked it for a long time. I've always felt weird about it. Gotta get you once per stream fingering, you know. Yeah, keep it in the drawing. It's crucial now, I think. And I need to do something with my hair. I like my hair, but I need to do something with it. Straighten it or give it some volume. I considered dyeing it. I want to work on, like, trying to get a fringe going. Because I don't like my forehead. That little girl who didn't sing the national anthem. I don't recall that. Anyway, I'll do the whole Australia Day discussion on Australia Day. On Invasion Day. Because it's coming up. And it's going to be a very big topic. It's going to be a very hot topic. And here's a little side note that I have to bring up. Is I've not seen, I mentioned this in a tweet, I've not seen a single Australia flag mask amidst all of the Australia Day merch they've been putting out. All of the flag merch they've been putting out across all the different stores. Not a single Australia flag mask. What does that fucking tell ya? Anyway, you've seen one on the Marketer-in-Chief. I mean, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing one anyway. It's a hideous flag. Can I say that much? Excuse me. Oh, Skunt Morrison. So, excuse me. Yeah, I wanted to touch on this again because Kat put the idea in my head. From Kat's Kitchen, who I need to reach out to and ask if she wants to come on for Mask Off at some point. But I'm questioning the whole idea of doing Mask Off. We had one good episode with Calgar, but the thing is, like, I need to reach out to so many different people in order to make this thing work, and I need to have them here on time, on 6 p.m. Mondays, in order to make this work. And I feel like it's just such an effort, and I don't know enough other creators that I can have on as guests for Mask Off, that I'm considering maybe postponing the whole concept until I can work out a schedule or something. I don't know. Kind of annoyed with myself, because I thought I had this big plan of, like, let's bring people on to talk about big things, talk about things that they find important, things that they have experience with. And I'm still thinking to myself, like, I don't quite have the level of experience myself necessary to run that platform, much as I would love to. It's effectively a podcast, you know, me and one other person talking about X, Y, Z for a period of time. And try to do a bit of a cross-promotional deal situation, but I'm considering ditching it for now and focusing more on just building this particular platform. I want to build this just chatting thing that I'm doing into its own thing, into its own big thing. That's what we're working on. In that in addition to the video essays thing, which I'm glad I got back into that because it was a lot of fun to make that. And now I've got some really tremendously large ideas for the next one, which is probably going to kill me, honestly. It was about states' rights, their rights to own slaves. Oh, the Confederacy was about slavery, yeah. The states' rights to own slaves. What is my favorite food? Good question. Good question. I want to, you know what, I'm just going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say butter chicken. It's very, very nice. It's just, like, if I feel like I can't have bad butter chicken. I mean, unless it makes me sick after the fact, but I love butter chicken. I love a good Indian meal, like butter chicken, fried rice. Not fried rice, that's Asian food. Butter chicken, jasmine rice, and naan bread. Garlic naan is a good. It is very stereotypical. I rarely eat it, but I enjoy. And on the Asian front, honey chicken, fried rice, and samosas. They're always good. If Jacinta's watching, she's gonna hate me because I eat chicken. How dare I eat poultry? But yeah, I want Indian food now. There are Indian places that deliver to me, but it's like a $30 minimum delivery fee, and I'm just like not about that life, quite frankly. Katsu curry. I'll have to give that a try sometime. I'll have to give that a try. But anyway, I do want to talk about the video essay thing a bit. I want to talk about the process that I went through and how I'm going to be improving it. Fruit naan with mango in it. Interesting. Japanese curry. I'll try to give that a try at some point. Sushi. Well, yeah, sushi is good. Sushi's up there. Sushi's definitely up there in terms of its goodness. I've been eating more of that lately because it's also honestly very affordable, generally speaking. Sushi rolls are very, very cheap. I can get like two sushi rolls, which will do me for a meal, and that's like $6. Maybe even less. Can't even think about it. Like, I don't even know the pricing, but it's cheap. If I get a drink, it's $10. Like, it's really, really cheap. Fried chicken. If it's, you know what, homemade fried chicken is good. Fast food fried chicken is not. Excuse me. Or like local takeaway fried chicken is good. On the subject, like, you guys are making me hungry, and I just decided today that I'm doing intermittent fasting, so to speak.
Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Nacho Girl.
We hope you enjoy your stay.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us as you have been, you lovely person, you. I have never been outside of Australia. But yeah, here I am saying to myself, I started eating at about 10:30 this morning, and I stopped at dinner time, which was about 6:30. So I had my dinner, and that's been it. You know, I'm not eating anything else. I've had a coffee with a bit of milk in it. Stopping effectively all calorie consumption after that 8-hour period. And here we are talking about food. You're gonna kill me here, right? You're gonna end me. It's not nice. How dare you? I do wish I could get some of this stuff now, though. You know, thinking of some of these curries. Be nice to have this stuff on hand. Meal prep, you know? Meal prep it. But anywho. I wanted to talk about the video essay thing, the format. Do you guys like it, first of all? Did you watch Cancelled? Did you watch Outrage Merchants, which was a while back, and was not my best work, but it was my first dipping my toes situation into that kind of format? And I enjoyed doing it, but I think it needed some work at the time, and Cancelled still needs some work. My goal with the next one is to improve even further on the format, and keep going until I can not look like I'm reading a teleprompter, ideally. I think I need to work on ad-libbing quite a bit. It'd be nice to maybe get perhaps a list of notes instead of a script, but I worry that if I don't have a script, if I don't have a script, what's going to end up happening is I'll try to wing it and stumble over myself so much that the final footage will be like 90 minutes to 2 hours that I have to then cut down to maybe half an hour at most. And I don't want that kind of outcome. Your brain is fucking stupid. Why is your brain stupid? Radio broken. Have a good lurk there. I had some karaage and takoyaki balls for dinner. I have no idea what either of those are. My knowledge of international food is incredibly limited. I like nachos. That's a thing. Or burritos. But there's this idea that I've been thinking about, which was something I was going to work on in a much bigger video down the track. Kind of like somebody mentioned, I forget who it was that mentioned this to me, but like, when you have a dream project, when you have a passion project, don't do the big passion project first. Do it further down the track once you've built up a bit of a body of experience, body of work in that format. And that's what I am going to try to do with these video essays, like tackle a bunch of smaller ideas before I go into the really heavier stuff that I want to focus on. And there is a big passion project I would like to get done in July. And right now, one of my big focuses is exploring other methods of presenting to the camera, rather than just directly talking at you with a teleprompter in front of me giving me the entire script to read. I want to explore different methods of presenting my arguments, presenting my... trying to think. I think that ibuprofen has hit me. I mean, the pain has gone away, but I feel a little bit like lightheaded now, so I can't think straight. It fixed the shoulder problem though. That stopped hurting, so that's good. I had this idea of like doing different character moments, because like, those of you familiar with my past YouTube work know I've done character stuff in the past, which was questionable at best. We're not going to revisit that specific fictional universe, but there are ideas from that I would like to use as a baseline for exploring different concepts. So character discussions, including me playing multiple different roles like I've done in the past. Sketches, and other things. It's very convoluted, there's a lot in there, I think. Thinks about further into this year, you hope Pride isn't cancelled again. I feel like it will be, unfortunately. We're definitely in for the long haul with COVID, I think. we can keep trying and hoping and wishing that everything goes according to plan and everything gets back to normal as normal can be, but I get the suspicion it's not gonna happen. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But I wouldn't hold out hope, honestly. Sadly, regretfully, I wouldn't hold out hope. But yeah, of course, this thing, as I was mentioning, because yeah, Kat put this idea in my head, put out a dono goal, which is, if you see, you got exclamation. I can't hover over it now because it's in a weird position. Here, right around here is where my hand needs to be. Kat, he's around somewhere. He is around somewhere. I don't know where he was. He was in the background before. I had the tape measure out and I got him in here. Welcome back, Broken. But yeah, like this is my big goal for my content creation in general. Is I want to get a good camera, and I've set the goal pretty high at 1,000 Australian gold dollary dues, because I want to get a really solid camera with really solid camera quality and microphone as well. But I feel like visual fidelity is, because my audio quality is not perfect, obviously, by any stretch of the imagination, but it's better than my video quality, so to speak. Like, my video quality is pretty, especially with this lighting, it's pretty disastrous. And I would like to have a camera that can provide really crisp video of, say, this backdrop, so you can see some detail. Like, I look like I'm in 480p right now, and I can see that in OBS. The output is not great. I need something that can can interpolate darks a lot better. Just get a Logitech C920. I've got C922s. I've got 2 of those. And it's miserable. That's what I mean, is like, this is the camera I'm using. And it's not great. And I'd like to get like a proper, genuine film and photography camera, I suppose. There were a few options I was looking at. The Canon M200 came up, or a DSLR if I can swing it. What was my favorite part of being a streamer? Talking, honestly. Having discussions. Being able to discuss various things. We've had some really good discussions lately, honestly. And it's been really nice and chill. Hanging out and just chatting about shit. That's always been my favorite thing about it, honestly, the commentary. And I started out as a gaming streamer. For a long period of time there, I was playing primarily Minecraft or Souls games. And we always ended up finding ourselves on various topics. And given that I was focusing so heavily on gameplay, it made it hard to talk about certain things at length. And I think moving towards this kind of method of content creation, where there's more of that back and forth, more interactivity with chat and the like, rather than just comment this, comment that on whatever's happening in the game. I definitely like this format a lot more. Although certain games do perhaps permit a more conversational style. I think Minecraft and Stardew can permit a more conversational style, for example. But stuff like Dark Souls is a lot more intense. Skyrim again. But yeah, I think my favorite thing's always been the conversation. Has always been exploring ideas and discussing ideas. Which is what I'm, again, doing with those video essays. And the next one's going to be very personal, on that note. On an aside, the next one's going to be a very personal project. Compared to the most recent one, which was more of an exploration of a broad topic that just annoys the shit out of me. The next one's going to be, a very personal project. And then, I think I'm going to do that as a theme, maybe? I might do... Let's do a broad social topic, and then let's do a personal topic, and then let's do another broad social topic, which still explores themes and ideas that go beyond just me as a person. But I think the idea of doing a combination of personal topics and, I guess, more sociological stuff, which is something I really want to get into this year. I'm waiting to hopefully hear back from the university, either at the end of this month or the very early days of next month. And fingers crossed, everything goes according to plan, I will be in uni this year, which will constrain my time a bit, but the education will be worth it, I think. We'll see how we go. fingers crossed for all of that. Now there's another topic I want to swing back to that we talked about earlier, that we sort of dropped. And I want to talk about this concept of parasocial relationships. Primarily with streamers, because that seems to be, at the moment, where... Sorry, Reaper. There you go. That's your parasocial relationship right there. And posture check. My tissues are running it. You wish me luck with uni? Well, I gotta get into it first. Thank you. Posture check, get my back straight. This has come up especially recently with regards to the topic of streamers. Now, of course, it does happen with YouTubers. It does happen with celebrities. It does happen with other people. The idea that somebody who is a fan, somebody who is a viewer, somebody who is this or that or the other, who idolizes... excuse me. Who idolizes a certain personality, primarily online, it seems like. Also, according to my word processor, parasocial isn't a word, so I had to add that in there. But for those of you who don't know what the parasocial relationship is, it's effectively that one-way relationship of someone who is a fan of someone else getting intensely attached to that person. So in the case of streamers, if there was a viewer who sees me as a very close personal friend, even though there's really no close personal relationship there, like I've never interacted with them off stream or anything of the sort, never indicated there's any serious personal tie there, and yet that person thinks we're best friends because I read their messages in chat all the time or something like that. That's what can become quite dangerous about the streaming concept, because it's such an interactive format. You know, with pre-recorded content, if you're doing YouTube videos, then the likelihood of someone developing that... I mean, it's still there. The likelihood of someone developing that kind of sensation towards their favorite YouTuber is still going to happen, especially if the YouTuber, say, responds to their comment in the comment section. But the idea of the parasocial relationship is especially prominent in streaming, I think, because of the interactive format. So if you do find a streamer that you particularly like, and you are the kind of person who has the personality type that leads into this kind of thing, and I've seen many people like this, honestly. I've met people who are very, very like this. It's bizarre, and I have seen people who are like this with regards to celebrities, and they're like big millionaire celebrities. They genuinely believe, not even like as a joke, a meme sort of thing, genuinely believe they're going to go and marry Chris Hemsworth, for example, and they believe there is actually some kind of attachment there. But it's a lot more dangerous with streamers, because there's a lot more smaller streamers than there are bigger streamers, thereby we're a lot more accessible. You did that with a footy player you sponsored because you paid for that one-on-one time with him. Got messy and you're still angry at yourself for it. Thankfully, he seems none the worse for it and is happily engaged. Well, that's good then. It's a very that becomes a very tricky area as well. That kind of fan interaction thing, I feel, is particularly dangerous. But of course, they're going to keep doing that sort of thing. Maybe less so nowadays, but they're going to keep doing that sort of thing because it makes money. Of course it does. Like if you go to a fan meet and greet, or if you go and buy that sort of a one-on-one time thing, yeah, that becomes very tricky. It becomes very tricky. Holiday camp reps get a fan base. You could be doing podcasts and still have someone who knows you, but it's really creepy. It becomes really creepy when people know you better than you know yourself, kind of thing. And that's what we're talking about, really, realistically speaking, is these people who get it into their head, get this idea into their head that they can get closer to someone than is reasonably feasible, you know? And yeah, like I said before, streaming being an interactive format bridges that otherwise one-way gap that you get with pre-recorded content. But of course, like we've seen, people will still latch onto and attach to personalities that have never interacted with them, quite frankly. Or if there is the moment to interact with them, there is that almost fanatical obsession that the fan has that the personality does not. And of course, this can be very dangerous, can lead to very disastrous outcomes. There was a YouTube singer, I forget her name now, a few years back, who did a meet and greet at a mall, and there was this guy who was fanatically obsessed with her, believed that they were destined to be together and all that sort of thing, and because he couldn't have her for, yeah, that's it, Christina Grimmie, yeah, he went and shot her in the head at this fan signing thing. I think it was in the head. I don't know. He killed her, basically. Absolutely fucking messed up. And this is, I'm seeing this more and more on streamer social media, people talking about this idea of these parasocial relationships that some people develop. And it's tricky to talk about, especially when you consider that so many people will follow you and watch you because they find your personality particularly enjoyable, I think. You're going to keep telling yourself here, you're going to keep telling on yourself here because you want to make sure no one makes you a mistake, but you've done this too with dance teachers and co-workers, and it's a horrible, yeah, it is a horrible thing. It is a horrible thing. And it's very unfortunate because generally speaking, I think the people who are experiencing that parasocial attachment do not realize the negative aspects of it, do not realize how badly it can go, do not realize how creepy they're being. I've met lots of people who are like this, even just with people they know in their day-to-day lives. I think there is an element of parasocial relationships that happens with acquaintances. Where it's not, you know, some big personality, but it's someone you've met and you develop an attachment to them, whereas they just see you as another face in the crowd. And these people can become fanatical and obsessive and believe there is, you know, if you say hi to a girl at work every day and she says hi back and she smiles and you start developing these thoughts in your head that's like, oh, she's really into me. You start conceiving of a relationship that's entirely fictional. And of course that can particularly happen here on Twitch, especially if you come into somebody's chat. You say hi and they respond and they got a big cute smile on their face and you donate to them. Or I really got to break the habit of using the word donate. You tip them, like you can do to buy me a new camera. You tip them, they read your message, you sub, they read your message, etc, etc, etc. And that, I think, one of the bigger issues, of course, is when money is involved, it gets really, really convoluted. Because people start to think, I gave them money, thereby I'm better than everybody else in this chat. Thereby I have a closer relationship to my favorite streamer. I tipped them, and they read my message. They didn't read yours. That makes us closer as a... You know, we're going to get married. It's especially weird when the streamer that they're fawning over is known to be in a relationship. That always gets me. Like, what they think, you think they're going to break up with their partner of who knows how many years. They're probably married or have devoted a ton of time to be with some words on a screen that they have never seen before. It's unfortunate. It's so easy to do, especially when you're lonely. You have to be on your guard as someone who gets attached easily because you will hurt people. Boundaries are so important and they need to be respected. So when you were finally ready to give yourself another chance in dating scene, you made sure to only look on sites where people were looking for that sort of thing and not to push boundaries. Note, I'm better than all of you anyway. Didn't need to buy... Yeah, true. You didn't need to buy me a controller, but I do appreciate it. It's such a good controller too. It's amazing. Do you have any words for letting someone go who loved you and hurt you and hates you? Very, very tricky topic. Honestly, I'm not even sure. One of your default grading... One of your... I think the ibuprofen has had an alcoholic effect on me. Genuinely. I'm slurring my speech right now. What the fuck? The pain relief is worth it though. Who loved you and hurt you and hates you. One of your default greetings is hello beautiful, and you feel bad for saying that if a person is dating someone. I can understand that, because it does come across as particularly... But I mean, I see my mother call people darling all the time, and that can probably come across as particularly personal to certain people. But in the same vein, it's like people will call me dude or mate, and I feel those are particularly masculinized terms, even if they're not explicitly. So the way that certain people speak to other people can be seen as like, this is fine to me, I don't have a problem with saying this thing to a person, but they might look at you weirdly if you refer to them in such a manner. But as I was saying, like the streamer thing, we're entertainers first and foremost, and that barrier does need to be maintained. That barrier, you know, where the screen, the camera is in the way, is generally, you know, maintained for the streamer's safety. I feel, I worry for the kinds of streamers who would go to conventions and stuff back when that was a thing. Because that feels like a real haven for potential harm. I mean, as we saw with the meet and greet thing with Christina Grimmie, like we mentioned before. It feels particularly dangerous, especially as a bigger streamer. Like, I'm not, obviously, but if there were, I would worry about, like, the bigger streamers who would go out of their way to go to these events and sit there in a meet and greet queue and all that, and then wander the show floor with their friends. It would be so easy for someone to act up if they were completely psychotic. Hello, Ren, how you doing? What's going on? And that would absolutely fucking terrify me as a... Maybe I'm just a terrified, scared little dog with her tail between her legs. I don't know. Little yappy, annoying dog. That's the kind of dog I'd be. Your last obsession was your dance teacher. When you found out the whole time he'd been in a relationship with someone else, you felt like the worst person in life. I know the feeling. You know, when you have that kind of personality where you have to be obsessed with someone, so you said, let's pick someone you can't hurt, someone so far away from you that you can't do anything, and you picked a WWE wrestler. That went on for a year or so until you met your beloved, who you love more than anything but don't obsess over. There you go. That's what you want. I know that sensation. I know that feeling. I've been in that predicament before where I've been like, we're so close, me and this person I'm talking to regularly. Surely there's a potential for something here, and then they go, oh, my boyfriend. Which would always break my little gay heart. And one of the things that's great, like I mentioned before about the HRT thing, is not only do I have no sex drive anymore, like that's completely out the window. I have no desire for attachment either. I have no desire for a relationship anyway. So I can put that out there into the void. I am single and I am absolutely in no way ready to mingle. And I'm happy with that fact. You got a Switch, what are you playing on it? What have you got on it? I got Mario Odyssey was the first game I played on my Switch. The sex drive is in horny jail and it's staying there, locked up, far away from me. The only thing I'm horny for right now is that 8-foot tall Resident Evil lady. God damn. She's stacked. Anyway. Yeah, I do worry about that kind of stuff. I do worry about, not the sex drive thing. I do worry about this idea of putting out a persona that is distinctly relatable and friendly and approachable, and like that's the idea, that's the person I want to be. I want to be that approachable, relatable person, even if I do get very heated about certain topics, and I will go off, and you will see my angry side about certain things. But even then, I am trying to think. Yeah, I really think the ibuprofen has hit me in a way I wasn't expecting. Holy shit. Oh, let me pontificate for a moment. Okay. I'd like to think I'm approachable and relatable in some ways. Maybe that's the autism speaking. I don't know. I like to think I am... It's not Panadol. I could have done the double. I could have done both of them to try to kill the pain, but I think the ibuprofen was good enough. Painkillers have never hit me this hard before. I used to take 2 Nurofen, 2 Panadol, if I was dealing with some serious pain. And that would sometimes not even work. Now, of course, an important thing to talk about in that regard. We'll come back around to this. What's my zodiac sign? I am a Cancer because I am an absolute tumor of a human being. I am a Cancer, which is funny because like I'm wearing a ton of amethyst wristband. I'm rubbing an amethyst gemstone because it's nice and comfy. I was not at all born in February, which is apparently February. Amethyst is the gemstone, birthstone for February. I don't believe any of that nonsense. I just like the pretty purple gemstones because they're pretty. You're a Cancer too. We are friends in the sense that it's not creepy and parasocial. But that does get me. That does get me. I wish I had a clearer train of thought right now because I had some good ideas how to talk about this topic, but holy fuck, painkillers, man. Oh. Been on hold with the unemployment department for like at least 8 hours. Good lord. PC data. We encountered an error, so we're restarting your PC. Almost lost your ship. Thankfully, it looks like you saved your progress. Fucking hell, that would have been absolute garbage. Holy shit. Oh. Goodness me. On the subject of relationships, though, here's a topic. Here's a thing. I wanted to bring this up because it's rather interesting. It's rather amusing. And this is the thing that gets me about this, is I thought she was. I thought Jack from Mass Effect 2 was a gay character that you could romance. I just never pursued her in any of my playthroughs. Apparently, she can only be romanced by a male shepherd in Mass Effect 2, but she was originally supposed to be pansexual, and her dialogue references this. But they were cut, the scenes were cut because of Fox News. Do you guys remember the drama around Mass Effect back in 2007, 2010, that kind of time period? There was a whole thing around Mass Effect back in 2007 about the sex scenes in it, which, by the way, are not at all saucy. The sex scenes in Mass Effect are incredibly vanilla and milquetoast and boring as all fuck. You can't see a fucking thing, and they look like video game sex cutscenes would, quite frankly. Really creepy and weird. The sex scenes were cut in Singapore, there you go. What, do they just fade to black and then you just interpolate the rest? If you see someone getting a little too obsessed, you do think you have a responsibility to try and talk to them. It never works, but you try. I mean, that is a responsible way to do it. Can't see a fucking thing. What, this? Oh, you mean the can't see a fucking thing in the sex scenes? Yeah. So yeah, in the actual game. In the actual game, she talks about how she was part of a three-way relationship with a male and female. Yeah, posture checking. I'm okay. I'm okay with my posture. It's good. She talks about specifically that I remember the dialogue specifically. She talks about how she was in a three-way relationship with a man and a woman, traveling around being rebellious. And then I guess it turns out in the actual final game, there were supposed to be romance options for her to romance both male shepherd and female shepherd, and they cut it because of this Fox News outrage. Hey, Zinky Art, what's going on? We're just talking about this situation. Mass Effect 2's Jack was originally pansexual, but non-straight romances were cut because of Fox News. So what happened in 2007, right, is there was a huge... This is what's fucking hilarious to me, right? This is what's fucking hilarious. There was a huge kerfuffle around Mass Effect 1 having full-blown nudity in its sex scenes. Was never the case. Like I said, the sex scenes in Mass Effect 1, very milquetoast, very bland, everything's covered up, everything's censored. You infer that the characters are nude. I think you see a hint of butt crack at some point. But Fox News, being the absolute Puritan news outlet that it's always been, flew into an outrage over this game. And as a result of that, as a direct result of that, Mass Effect 2, when they brought Jack into things, who, again, like, just looking at her face, right? This is a queer character. That is explicitly a queer character. You just look at her. She is so fucking gay. I cannot tell you how gay that woman is. Okay? Is stupid levels of gay. And yet in the final version of the game, only male shepherd is able to romance Jack. Which, again, I think back in the day, this was actually before I started to specifically play female characters in video games, crazy enough. I think there was always like me dipping my toes into that whole thing. But you know that situation of males choosing to play females in video games? That was never for me as a... you know how like a lot of the blokes who say, I play girls in video games because I think I want something nice to look at. That was never the case for me. It was definitely should have been a huge hint back when I was presenting as a man. That I was like, oh, I like being a girl. But Mass Effect, strangely enough, it was more of that escapist fantasy at the time. Excuse me. Mass Effect, strangely enough, was the one series I played. I only played the first 2 games. I played the first one and the second one. I never played the third one. Was the only series where I played the character as a male for some reason. So the option to romance Jack did come up, but I never pursued it. Fox News deserves to be cancelled and more. Well, yes. They're a legitimately awful attempt at a news organization. You're a trans boy and periods suck when you're a trans boy. Oh god, I can imagine. I can absolutely... Oh my gosh. You know, here's a fun fact about HRT, right? Apparently, and I'm not 100% sure if this has started yet. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. Apparently trans women on estrogen can develop a cycle. In a sense, I'm not going to bleed. But there are other symptoms that are associated with the cycle that can crop up for, you know, typical period of 3 to 7 days throughout the month. So if that happens, I'm not looking forward to it. You did question yourself seeing me play female characters all the time. Yeah, it's weird. Even, I think oh no, I didn't do it in Stardew. Because Stardew is just pixel art, really. But there was I think there was another run at Stardew where I played a female character. And my Minecraft skin for a while there was Lady Maria. What else? Skyrim. Dark Souls especially, always female characters. And then, yeah, Mass Effect was weird in the sense that I never played it as a woman. I think I dipped my toes into it briefly. I am interested in the remaster if they get around to it, and it'll be interesting to see if they fix this particular problem. If they bring in the content that... Because here's the thing about Jack, is they recorded content for her for a female romance, for a lesbian romance, and they didn't put it in the game, obviously, because of this Fox News debacle. So the situation was originally Fox News went off their head about the sex scenes in the first game, and in the follow-up, because I don't know if you guys remember, but just 10 years ago, just 11 to 15 years ago, it was a very, very homophobic time in the news media. Very, very homophobic.
Welcome to the Rogue Room.
Soy in space.
We hope you
Welcome to the
enjoy
Rogue Room.
your stay.
Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. I'm going to grab a drink, actually. You know what? And Walter,
Welcome to the
B725.
Rogue Room.
Welcome to the
We
Rogue
hope
Room.
you enjoy your stay.
Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. I'm going to break my attempt at not eating any calories outside of dinner. Well, it's going to be a drink. I'm going to grab myself a mango iced tea really quickly. Like, don't go away. I'm not going to put an ad up. Not that one. There we go. I'll just be right back. I won't be too long. Don't go away. For goodness. I'm a fucking dumbass. On my way back, my cat's sitting on the lounge. It's like on the opposite side of that wall. And I went to pat him. I could see his silhouette. And I reached out and I patted the lounge next to him. I did do all my pixel art myself. Every bit of artwork on my channel is my own. And here is... he's resting. I'm not going to harass him. Here is what I was going to do for my Be Right Back scene. Cut out some of the rest of that stuff. But this used to be my backdrop when I had a green screen. And we just recently ditched the green screen. Also, this is my starting soon screen. I've got some other stuff. I've got like a vaporwave backdrop here if we get rid of that. Like, I've been fiddling around with pixel art for a while, and I'm very, very happy with it. With how a lot of it's turned out. I'm going to just make a few modifications, and yeah, that cloud scene is going to be my starting soon, I think. Anyway, what were you saying about, yeah, British law? I just saw this. Can't have hormone blockers till you're over 16 or 18, meaning you can't have your preferred gender's puberty. Yeah. I'm very, very pro puberty blockers for teens. Because they're reversible. They are experimental, like all HRT is, but they are reversible. And the issue with the puberty blocker situation in the UK, it's a very, very fucking irritating subject, because there was a situation, here, get this shit right, get this. After they secured the blockers thing, the transphobes, the TERFs that are ruining the lives of trans children, which is going to directly lead to trans suicide rates increasing in teens, by the way. Let's clarify that right now. Denying trans teenagers the right to puberty blockers, because it should be a right, absolutely should be, is going to lead to an increase in trans teen suicide rates. Directly, right? Really need to hire you for some pixel art characters over here. That could be an idea. That could be an idea. I'm not very good at character art, though. Bonsoir, I'm a virgin idiot. How you doing? Give you a gentle hug. The rates are already stupid high. What else? Are we going to follow that up with something there? Oh, yeah. Guess what they're doing next? Now that they've secured the puberty blockers thing, now that they've secured that, they are trying to skew it even further. Yeah, you got me. Haha, funny. They're trying to skew it even further. BBW Gaming, how you doing? What's going on? Welcome in. And now they're saying, well, once you reach the age of 18 and you go off to university, you're going to be taken away from all your family and all your social groups. And they're going to be confused by the social situation at university, and they're going to be coerced into transitioning. This puberty blocker situation in the UK is the beginning of a trans genocide in the United Kingdom. It is, let's call it what it is. It's explicitly a transgender genocide in the UK. They are trying to exterminate trans people. I don't remember where exactly I read that specific thing, but they are now trying to make that their mission statement. These poor trans teenagers who are going off to university are going to be separated from their families and their comfort zones or whatever, like their social network that supports them. They're going to go off to university and going to be coerced into transing. I feel solidarity with my folks, my trans folks in the UK. Trans fam, be safe over there, please. Do what you can to get out, honestly. You talking to the Facebook Twitch streamers group. How are you? How are you doing? I'm not quite sure who you are, though. That's the problem with, like, this is the issue with talking about streaming on Facebook. Most people, you know, you see most people in Facebook groups talking on their normal accounts. I'm Abigail on there, of course. So, although there are a few people who use fake names, fake accounts, which is a good idea. I should probably do that, honestly, to protect my identity. Not read up on this, but the language surrounding this smacks of bullshit. It is. It's a bunch of transphobes trying to make up issues that don't exist. The big issue I have, the really, really big issue I have with the puberty blocker situation is they took the story of one woman who transitioned to a male and had a whole ton of shit, got on hormones, had a double mastectomy, I think had bottom surgery as well, and then later detransitioned, and they used that one person to kickstart this whole thing about the puberty blocker situation. One person's detransition story as evidence that they should shut down puberty blockers.
We hope you enjoy your stay.
Kuda Thug 420. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. Made a post about your Twitch setup and took a picture of mine. Talked about how you don't have an expensive setup and shared a picture of your cheap setup on a picnic table. I feel the picnic table vibes. This is a trestle table. Big goal aside from the camera moving forward is the desk situation. Less than 1% detransition. Join you in your Dom Perignon, champagne, and some smoked moose. I've never tried moose. Alongside a bear rug and a fireplace, you load your ivory pipe. Typical Murdoch hit piece. I mean, it's probably Murdoch media involved. I kind of want to see a bearskin rug, IRL. Autistic queer streamer, very nice. Welcome. I too am an autistic queer streamer. Who else mentioned they were queer? Version. Yes, I am trans. I am trans, I'm queer. Everyone can be queer here. Which was what we were talking about a moment ago before I went be right back. We were talking about the fact that... Fuck's sake, I can't do it now. We're talking about Mass Effect 2's Jack was pansexual originally, but non-straight romances were cut because of Fox News. I swear I remember gay romances in Mass Effect 2. But apparently there's only 3, and they're not real romances. It's mentioned here in the article. There are only 3 actual potential gay romances in the game. Kelly Chambers, who is not a squad mate and does not disqualify other relationships. Basically, you can flirt with her, she'll come up to your chambers and she will, she'll dance for you, but she doesn't count as an actual romance. Samara, who expresses she has feelings for you but ultimately turns you down. And Morinth, who you get the option to have either Samara or Morinth in your game, who will literally kill you less than a second into having sex. It's like it's a game over screen if you try to fuck her. So that in Mass Effect 2, there are no actual gay romances. I do believe, if you, like you mentioned, you can romance Liara as a woman in the first game. And then I believe you can meet her in the second game, but you can't continue the relationship in the traditional sense. I think I'm going to pursue Liara if we do Mass Effect when the remaster comes out. I don't want to give money to EA, but if they do a good remaster of it, if they bring back the Jack romance options, there we go. There's an idea. Remember the J.K. Rowling situation? I never forget the J.K. Rowling situation, honestly. Rent-free in my head. That bitch. Happy Saturday, Savio Diaz. How you doing? Hey, Elder Viper, what's going on? Yeah, I can't get... I wish I could. But the thing is, it's mutual. Joanne, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, because there's no way in hell you would consume any transgender media. You bigoted cunt. But the feeling is mutual. The rent-free in each other's heads thing is mutual. She can't stop thinking about how all transgender women are rapists who are trying to break into public bathrooms. Which is something that's never happened, for the record. And I, of course, cannot stop thinking about the fact that she thinks that of us all the time. It's a really obsessive thing, honestly. It does not affect you in any reasonable way. Other people transitioning. They're just looking for something to be pissed off about. Am I a rapist if I'm a teen? Well, I mean... That's a whole other issue. There are teen rapists, of course, but that's not, the problem is, of course, I've literally never heard a single story. It's usually like, do you remember the book she wrote recently? She wrote a book about a serial killer who cross-dresses. And given everything we know about her opinions on transgender women, I think like the story was the killer cross-dresses to lure either women or men. I forget what exactly it was. And it's like, we know, though she's referred to as a cross-dressing man specifically, we know that's what she thinks of trans women. And it's always trans women. It's never trans men. They never comment on trans men. Abigail Schreier is the only one who's commented on trans men who's made a big controversy about it that I can think of. Stupid bitch. Anyway, a little exaggerated. My favorite color is purple, honestly. This is my favorite whole thing. I love that my room looks like this. This is so fucking awesome. Yeah, what is wrong with her head? I don't know. She is too rich. This is the problem. Is these kinds of people, who go on about this kind of shit, the same kind of people who go on about cancel culture, for example, as well. It's always that, like, she's another one of those. It's like, oh, the cancel culture. It's always people who are so privileged and so bored they have nothing going on. They are so bored that they have to develop a bigotry to stay entertained by something. For fuck's sake, just get a Netflix subscription, bitch. Subscribe to every streaming service and start working your way through every television series that ever aired. Please get a hobby. You're an author, for fuck's sake, write something that isn't explicitly transphobic. Hey Sienna, how you doing? I look beautiful, thank you. I've been working on my makeup. Have you noticed? I got my wings back tonight. They look okay. I need to do something with my hair. I'm strongly considering doing something with my hair because it's like kind of not the most exciting right now. Guess why they don't comment on transgender men? Because men have always been better. Well, the main arguments that I've heard that they make against transgender men, when they do make the arguments against transgender men, they accuse them of being lesbians who are being stolen. This is the funny thing. They always accuse trans people in general of being gay. I identified and presented as a man before I transitioned, very much into women. Still very much into women. I went from straight to gay. Not the other way around. But you love the lights? Thank you. The lights are nice. I'm going to get more lights. I'm going to light this place the fuck up. So many flashing colors. We get so many flashing colors. And what they love to do is they'll say that transgender men, like for example Elliot Page, or transmasculine people I should say specifically, what they'll say is like they're stealing lesbians away from us. They'll say that. That's one of the things they'll say. They're stealing the lesbians away and turning them into men. They'll say that transgender men are people who... Oh, hydrate. We'll hydrate.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. We hope you
Grace?
enjoy your stay.
Is that Grace Lamau? Hey, welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, chill out, have a drink with us. And thank you. I'm glad you think my whole room is a vibe. I appreciate that. But the gay thing. What was I saying? Sorry, I'm trying to get my train of thought. Let me kickstart myself. Another thing they say is that transgender men are trying to escape the pressures of being a woman. Right? They'll say that. Yeah, so stealing lesbians, trying to escape patriarchy. What else? They've always got these different arguments. They've always got these stupid arguments, and the arguments for trans women, of course. We're predators, apparently. We're trying to break into women's public restrooms and rape women. Which, by the way, it's like, this is so stupid. The whole idea of, like, we're gonna break into a women's public restroom to rape a woman. Do you realize, if a man felt like going into a public restroom to rape a woman, it's still illegal, and there's still nothing stopping him doing that? Like, what? Do you really think that's a legitimate argument to make? Or they'll say they'll say trans women are transitioning into women to get closer to women's private spaces, biological women who can have babies and all that stupid bullshit. Mr. Dictator, who are you talking to? Specifically. We are talking about TERFs, we are. Yes. How do we get onto this? We were originally talking about Jack from Mass Effect being Pan. Or as she should have been Pan in the original. Well, she is. I think her character still is pansexual, but it's just you can't romance her as a woman in Mass Effect 2. It's not a possibility. Kind of stupid. Non-binary people are trans. Fuck off anti-non-binary trans people. They're under the umbrella, but of course if you, like you said, hello Jacinta baby, how you doing? Yeah, if you're non-binary and you don't consider yourself trans, that's perfectly fine, of course. We were talking hormone blockers as well. There really needs to be more people who are accepting to folks who are trans. It's gonna be a long road, I think. We are the hot queer topic at the moment. Trans and NB folks are the hot queer topic of the minute. The ones, because the goalposts keep moving. You'll notice this. You will notice that the goalposts keep moving. I'm gonna like... I can't see myself, so hang on. I want to bring my hair down a little bit. You'll notice this. Every few years they will move the goalposts back. They couldn't get gay people. Right? They couldn't get the gay people like 10 years ago, like we were talking about. The Mass Effect thing. that we're talking about, like this. Which is not really where I was going with this conversation. But yeah, like I said, Mass Effect 2's Jack was originally pansexual. You were supposed to be able to romance her as a male or female shepherd. But they cut it from the game because of controversy. Because 10, 15 years ago, the whole thing was all of the discussion, all the queerphobia was homophobia. It was about the gays, it was about the lesbians. And trans folks sort of like slid under the radar. Now, being trans and being NB is a huge hot topic. It has been for the past 5 or so years, I would say. Being trans and being NB has been growing in terms of popularity as a controversial topic. And you gotta go, Nitro. Go have a good one. Have a very, very good one. Definitely under the label, you're not interested in transitioning so you don't feel comfortable. Yeah, I think I get what you're getting at there, yeah. Have a brother who calls you your dead name and doesn't give a shit, he's a fucking clown. That's annoying. And, like, I know the sensation of having, family members who will... my mother has, unfortunately, dead named me in frustration, which is not nice. She's otherwise respectful, and I'm trying to get her to change her tune on that. Trans people have been strawmanned by the media, absolutely. Yes. Dead name means like the name you had before you transitioned, if you choose to change it. Some people don't. Some people go for a name that sounds very similar to the name they used to have. Which does make it easier for people who are going to attack you, who dead name you. She did, yeah, I don't think she meant to, but she's still learning. I hope she figures it out soon. It's all habit forming. Still refers to me as he in some circumstances, like it's very complex. I do wonder if it's ever going to go away. That's one of those things that I worry about. It's like, am I ever going to be... My sister's really good for it. My sister has been really good for pronouns and name. Calls me Abby all the time. My kids call me Abby all the time. Jem, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down and grab a drink and chill out with us. Your birth name is Eli, but you're also not bothered by being called it. Starting to prefer Elise, but Eli is just a name for you, so you don't mind. That's understandable. Yeah, Katie's been good. My sister's been good. People like that deserve to be disowned by their family. See how they like being excluded from basic shit. Exclude the transphobes. Get them out. Kick them out of the family. They don't deserve rights. Turfs, get in the fucking bin, dude. But yeah, that's a tricky thing at the moment. Is trying to get people to understand, because like my mother has told me, and I understand her viewpoint as she's called me, like, this is the thing that kind of irritated me the other day, is she mentioned how attached she is to my old name and how she chose it, and it's like, oh, it has meaning. It's like, well, it doesn't have meaning to me anymore. And honestly, it never did. It always felt like a name I didn't like. It was just like, this is the name I have to go by because it was chosen for me. And now I've chosen my own identity. I've chosen my own name. I've decided who I want to be. And that name is no longer a part of that identity. It's really, really unfortunate how prominent this idea is. It's just like, oh, I've known you as that for 31 years. And it's like, well, I decided in my infinite wisdom, because I'm a genius, that I don't want that particular identity assigned to me anymore, after so many years of feeling like I was the wrong person. You know? Not a super unique guy's name anyway. Yeah, not really. It's like, there's nothing special about it. The name Abigail feels meaningful to me because I chose it. It doesn't have any specific meaning outside of that, really. But it feels like something I chose, and thereby it has that distinct meaning to it. Straights, stop forcing LGBTQ+ on your children. Also, straights, put something very sexual on a baby's suit. I know, what the fuck? Or like the thing where they'll say a little boy and a girl who are like 2 years old hang out and play together all the time. So what the parents will do is they'll dress them up in a little suit and a little dress, and they'll do a little fake wedding for them. Fucking white people, dude. Always white people. Oh, Abigail. I look like an Abigail. I'm gonna say that much, whatever the fuck that means. You look like an Abigail. It's like, yeah, no shit, because I am one. I never understood that phrase when you say that to somebody. You look like a Peter. What the fuck does a Peter look like, right? Like... Also, yeah, Cuties. What the fuck was with that movie? I'm glad to have never watched it. Also, Straight sees a genuinely non-stereotypical depiction of an LGBT relationship, a loving relationship. Straights, once again, do the gays need it? The situation with the trans Jedi thing. I still don't know the situation with that. I only heard, again, I found out about the trans Jedi thing through Isaac Butterfield, regretfully. I actually watched his content, ew. Yeah, that situation, it's like we heard about the fact that Star Wars was considering adding a trans Jedi in some way. It's like, more likely than not, it's going to be in the expanded universe material. It's not going to be an important character. Someone that can be easily changed in international releases or ignored altogether in international releases. I'm fixing Spotify here because it's bleeding over into my second monitor. I need to get one of those really super wide monitors. Anyway, I've lost chat. Hold on a second, guys. There you are. And it's like, these kinds of people, these transphobes, will make a huge deal out of the fact that a well-established setting is going to add a queer character in some way, shape, or form. And again, like I said before, I genuinely believe, that they're not going to give this character any meaningful purpose. It's not going to be Luke is trans. You know, that's not going to be the situation here. A genderless alien isn't all that unrealistic Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking about this with the Jack thing, Mass Effect thing. How many of the other races in Mass Effect are gendered based on stereotypical Western white society gender principles? I don't think we ever hear about like alien societies in Mass Effect, coming back to Mass Effect, that do not have explicitly male-female gender dynamics. The only one that stands out is the Asari, who are defined as an all-female species. But the thing is, if they are an all-female species and that's their norm, they're not going to have nomenclature for female. They're not going to have that gendered language about themselves. So that in itself is very, very patently bizarre. And it sort of comes back to that whole notion of, like, we look at BioWare's older work largely as being very progressive in terms of its ideals, but then all the aliens have got mans and womans, except this race is all womans. Like, it's kind of stupid. It's all meaningless virtue signaling. Maybe they're doing it, but it's meaningless. So yeah, fingers crossed if they do bring... if they do eventually get around to bringing out this remaster, Jack may return to being pansexual, perhaps, but we'll see. They're most certainly not going to make her trans, though. I can tell you that much. Rowling has a right to have her opinion, and we have a right to criticize the fuck out of her wrong opinion. She is hating on people. She explicitly is. I have read everything she said on the topic. She is explicitly hating on transgender people, because the rhetoric and the narrative she is spreading is explicitly trying to make people criticize that gender critical thing. Trying to make people criticize transgender people. That a person of her influence does not need to be going out and saying those things. A person of her level of influence does not need to be going out and targeting a very vulnerable minority group with criticism. She does not... She has the right to her opinion, and we have the right to tell her she's wrong. Because every time she comments on it, more people get radicalized against trans people. It's just that's just how it happens. The whole I stand with J.K. Rowling rubbish. I will admit I did enjoy some of Harry Potter for a while. There was a nice bit of escapism in there, but then you go back and honestly, like, first of all, the writing is rather bland. It's not, she has some annoying prose, and furthermore, a lot of the stereotypes she's blended into the narrative are explicitly problematic in different ways. other than the transphobic bullshit, which is not really, as far as I know, at all prevalent in the Harry Potter books. I don't think she ever actually touches on any of her latent transphobia, but she definitely has some other bigotries that have been slotted in there. And for another point to make, some people will explicitly go out of their way to mention she came from a less than privileged background and kind of blew up. And that's what made her wealthy and all that, but that's bullshit. For the most part. There was a period where she had a downward dip in her life, but she did explicitly come from a wealthy background. She came from parents who had at least some money. So there's this idea that some people have got about Joanne Rowling, that she came from a shoebox apartment and everything was beaten down and she didn't have electricity and she lived in poverty all her life. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. She did actually come from some level of privilege, because of course she did. Hola Autumn, how you doing? As if that's a justification for anything either. Poor people who live in shit conditions can still have dog shit opinions. Can still have uninformed, uneducated opinions. And can still, in rare circumstances, gain a level of influence and use that influence for nefarious reasons. You liked Harry Potter, but Draco Malfoy is not an interesting character. He has no purpose other than being a dick to Harry. Yeah, true. That is true. Like, again, her writing is very, very milquetoast. I like using that word, so I'm going to keep using it. Like, she has the whole... certain characters are only designed to fit a certain stereotype. Like, she leaned very heavily into turning Hermione into an insufferable SJW at certain points. And she played up the angle of the insufferable SJW thing very heavily in the later books. The one thing you don't get about her is that she keeps on editing the characters to suit her own worldview many years after the release. That I can't stand. The only example of that I can justify is Celeste, with the character of Madeline being trans, because, quite frankly, I've played the game, and there's so much symbolism in there that gives it away. So many things that I can relate to personally on a storytelling level, where it's like, yeah, this is a trans character, absolutely. And the trans flag in the fucking game, there's that whole thing. Ah, milquetoast. Even if she came from absolutely nothing, doesn't mean she can come out and hate trans people and not expect us to call her an asshole. Yeah. This is what I touch on in Cancelled. In the video Cancelled. It's like, again, she and other people like her absolutely have a right to their opinion. But the thing is, their opinions, the opinions of very significantly influential people, are going to reach a much wider audience than mine. At least at this level in my career. I wish to one day be able to challenge her ideas on a certain level of platform. That'd be nice. But people like me, streamers of my level, content creators of my level, do not have the level of influence she does, and she's spreading explicitly regressivist ideas. She's trying to take people back away from the notions of progressivism, of giving trans people acceptance. So in that regard, yes, she's allowed to have her opinion, but that doesn't mean we can't say it's incredibly irresponsible of her to continue sharing it. Because it is. It's explicitly irresponsible of her to share those opinions. And I simply cannot, in any good conscience, agree with the idea of giving her a platform. This is what I talk about in Cancelled. I talk about the idea of, like, deplatforming people. And like with Donald Trump, you know, they deplatformed him completely. Which is fucking hilarious. But the reality of the situation is, like, remember the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing where she was talking to Congress into a microphone in front of an entire audience and on television, and this woman is wearing a mask, a face mask, a COVID mask, that says censored across it. These kinds of people with these massive platforms, with these massive level of influences, the moment a mob criticizes them, they think they are being silenced. They think they're being censored. They think they're being shut down and deplatformed, when the reality of the situation is the people they are pissing off, oftentimes minorities, let's be honest with ourselves here, are pissed off because those people are using their platform to go out of their way to cause more dissent and more discord and more division against those minorities. And that's why we're pissed off. Also, Lauren Boebert was live tweeting the position of Nancy Pelosi during the coup. Fucking Christ. I am speaking very gay facts right now. Free speech idea came about before mass media. And even then, the concept of free speech. I hate these free speech absolutists. I really do. Because they tend to go... like, they don't get what free speech is. First of all, the concept of free speech, darlings, is that you can criticize your government freely with your words without being arrested and oppressed by your government for saying those words. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the fact that a mob might latch onto a target and say, this cunt is saying cunt things about us, and we want to deplatform this cunt for being a cunt. That is not at all, that's not free speech. I'm sorry, like, it's not... If we say we want to deplatform someone, if we say this person doesn't deserve to keep spreading this hateful narrative that directly affects certain groups of people, that is not censorship, and that is not an oppression of anyone's free speech. That's not what free speech means. It never has been. Fucking morons. Can't believe... You can't believe someone stole AOC's shoes, true. J.K. Rowling is innately tied to the Harry Potter series as a whole. Do you think it's possible for someone to criticize her, call her out on her turf bullshit, but proceed to continue buying her products and supporting her via reviews, streams, videos, etc.? I'm at the point where I'm just like, cannot separate art from artist on J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. If someone is, and at this point, in this point of the social discourse around Joanne Rowling, I'm going to call her Joanne Rowling because I feel like she likes the nomenclature, the nickname of JK. So I'm going to call her Joanne Rowling because it feels a little bit more like I'm being an angry parent almost. At this point, of course, you cannot separate the art from artist here.
We hope you enjoy your stay.
Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us like you very well have been. Thank you so kindly for being here. Yeah, I cannot separate art from artist when it comes to Joanne Rowling because, and I feel like at this point, everyone should know her turfy views by now. Everyone should be aware of the kind of shit she says. Hang on, let me close this website because it's glowing on my face and it's annoying me. Now I can be all nice and, like, moodlit. At this point, you should know the kind of viewpoints she espouses on a regular basis. That's not the right word. Espouses is not the right word, but the viewpoints she continuously prattles on about. You should know by now. It should be common knowledge. And in that regard, I cannot look at Harry Potter. I cannot look at it in good conscience and say, yeah, I trust fans of Harry Potter. No, I don't. And there's no way to distinctly separate the two. You can't. No matter how much you want to play it up and say it's cute and say, oh, Joanne Rowling didn't write this. No, I'm sorry, but it's not like H.P. Lovecraft, right? H.P. Lovecraft is long dead, and he had some incredibly racist viewpoints that were honestly kind of indicative of the time he lived, if we're going to be honest with ourselves. But you can say, you know, fucking Gary Newman wrote the Lovecraft Compendium or whatever, because H.P. Lovecraft is dead, and he's not going to benefit from anyone buying any of his works, and I intend on buying the Lovecraft Compendium to see what it's all about, actually. But J.K. Rowling, Joanne Kathleen Rowling, I believe it's Kathleen, I don't know, Joanne Karen Rowling, explicitly profits from every single sale of Harry Potter merch, profits from you going and seeing Fantastic Beasts whenever they release the third one, profits anytime Harry Potter is mentioned in advertising. Joanne Rowling is always going to benefit from you being a fan, and for that reason, I cannot separate art from artist here. There's no way to criticize her without explicitly criticizing the franchise she founded as well. And if you are a super fan of Harry Potter, I'm sorry, but you are complicit in the bigotry. Posture check, Fantastic Beasts and where to drop them. Fantastic Beats and where to... Okay. You have the right to talk, but for fuck's sake, you're being discriminatory. Welcome to the real world, sis. Wake up. The world doesn't accept discrimination anymore. Well, we would hope so. But if the last 4 years have told us anything... By the way... And she said she said this as a criticism of Donald Trump, but again, this tells you exactly what this woman thinks. She said this as a criticism of Donald Trump back in 2012, I believe, or maybe earlier, that he has every right to spout as much bigotry as he possibly can. That is his right as a person to speak. And again, I think there is a certain responsibility of platformed people to not spread such hateful viewpoints. But when you've got people who have got such huge platforms, that shit's gonna come out anyway. Glad he got kicked off, so am I. He's a dickhead. An absolute dickhead. Can people like Harry Potter world but hate the author? You can like the product but hate the producer. You can! I think for a long time there were a lot of people who hated George Lucas while liking Star Wars. I forget exactly why, honestly. I've forgotten what the reason was. People were disliking George Lucas. There were problems. I mean, you could argue just generally the prequels. But yeah, that's its whole thing. Don't think he's a fucking turf. True. Trump is an authoritarian wannabe dictator, and now he's been thrust out of power. But unfortunately, yeah, the best thing with someone like Trump is no attention. Absolutely. Used to love Harry Potter, but after Joanne started her bullshit, he couldn't justify it anymore. Exactly. There is a statute of limitations on this shit. You know, after, if someone comes out and says these, like, remember, was it Orson Scott Card? I can't remember, hang on, let me look at this up. I think it was. Yeah, Ender's Game, the author of Ender's Game, right? He came out as a flagrantly, Card has publicly declared his support of laws against homosexual activity and same-sex marriage. So, he is now very well known for being a blatant homophobe. And that seems to be, like, Ender's Game is not an unknown franchise. It was very well known, very popular. And I think that's what Joanne's reputation is going to skew into. At the moment, she's still, to some extent, known as the Harry Potter author. But there is definitely going to be a factor in the next few years, at least, of people who are completely dropping the whole idea of her being the author of Harry Potter and focusing more distinctly on the fact that she's that big transphobe, that big turf. Anytime you see anything related to Joanne, you just can't. If people are streaming it, honestly might unfollow them for your own safety. Yeah, I'm honestly disturbed by how many people I've seen who are super excited about the Hogwarts game. It's like, and I mean like ridiculously excited. It's like, dude, come on. Have a bit of integrity. Boycott this fucking game. You gotta go. Rightio, Zinky. Thank you so kindly for being here. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for sticking around and hanging out with us. Have a bloody good one. How wonderfully Orwellian homosexual activity. I know. It's ridiculous. They are meeting 40 minutes from where you live. Wait, what is? Biden has assigned a meeting with Boris to talk about climate change. Well, that's good. There was that whole thing with the Paris Accords. Like, at the moment Biden got into power, he was signing executive orders to rejoin the Paris Climate Agreement, which is good. Should spend her fortune on dabs so she's too high to remember about trans people. Really hope Trump supporters never forget that Trump had the chance to pardon the Capitol rioters and he didn't. I think at the very least, and as much as I am still super wary of the rise of fascism in the last few years, the rise of fascistic ideology, the rise of white supremacy, and all of that, as much as I dread that, I think at the very least, the video he put out certainly dissuaded a few people off him. From what I've been able to see, there's been a lot of people who have been explicitly upset with Donald Trump in the wake of him effectively denouncing and conceding all of those people who stormed the Capitol. Are they going to remember that he didn't pardon any of those Capitol rioters? Maybe. We'll see. But I think the issue is more, like, obviously, Cult 45 is not going away anytime soon. That is to say, Trump's trumpet supporters. I don't think they're going to stop being exactly who they are. I think they're still going to believe that he is their rightful president or any of that bullshit. But I think we might have a situation on our hands where someone who is a little bit more manipulative, someone who is a little bit more intellectual, for lack of a better word. Again, I don't believe there is such thing as a right-wing intellectual, but we do have this particular precedent on our hands now where somebody in American politics in the next 4 to 8 years, depending on how long Biden is president, and again, America needs to really push left as hard as they possibly can. There have already been some incredibly good things done by Biden in the first few days of his term, especially repealing Trump's explicit anti-LGBTQ plus laws, whatever it was that I forget exactly what it was, but there was some LGBTQ plus protections that were stripped by Donald Trump, and Biden reinstated those. I'll need to look up the specific details. Also, ibuprofen. Why is it hitting me so hard? Fucking Christ. Can I ask that? Like, why am I so fucking stunned by the ibuprofen? But the issue that I worry about, of course, is that, yes, you've got Biden as a still center-right president, arguably, and the goal is push left politically as much as humanly possible in the next few years. Push the American government as far left, as far progressivist as you can, and try to change as many minds as you possibly can, and I am going to make that my goal here on the channel as well. I still want people to skew left, even in Australia, because Australia is still run under a right-wing regime. But what I worry about is that white supremacy, that Trump supporter base that exists, which is a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the US who supported him. I worry that's not going away anytime soon, and what's going to happen is someone more coercive will run for president for the Conservative Party, for the Republicans, and will leech all of that base, and they will use their influence over that crowd, and things will potentially get really bad. Having someone who is more intelligent than Donald Trump in a seat of Republican power could be disastrous. That's my thought. So anyway, let's come back. Kevin Sorbo had his voice dropped into Smite as Hercules. One of your at-the-time friends was super excited about it, despite the fact that Kevin Sorbo is a fucking prick and a huge Trump supporter. He is. He was coming from a hate the artist, not the art kind of perspective, and having loved the original Hercules before even knowing the Republican and other issues. Can't even try to watch Hercules since seeing Kevin Sorbo makes me angry beyond belief, so, and you won't even try. Yeah. Kevin Sorbo irritates me, as someone who liked Hercules as a kid, yeah. Didn't even pardon his family members. Wasn't he talking about preemptively pardoning Eric and Donald Jr.? Like, Donald, they didn't do anything, did they? They didn't do anything, Mr. Trump. Did they? So why would you need to, dare I ask it, preemptively pardon them? Very curious that. Peeking, I know. I'm making a point. Very high likelihood Trump will never be able to run again after the impeachment trial. Yeah, no, definitely not. We get rid of the Electoral College. A Republican will never win a presidential election ever again. Do you think that's likely to happen? What do you think? What's the likelihood the Electoral College goes away? Because if that goes away, it's very, very possible that you could see some actual progressive shift in America. And yeah, I'm tripping on ibuprofen. I'm just like woozy. It's hitting me like I took a really strong painkiller. Oh. Happy for the LGBTQ executive order and the US rejoining Paris Agreement, and you're British. I am very happy when I see America doing good things, because when America does good things, it influences the rest of the world. America has always been this reality TV star of politics. Whenever America does something, the rest of the world looks at America and goes, oh, maybe we should do that. America changes minds on a global scale. It is most definitely at least a social superpower. So, of course, some people are saying economically China is more of a superpower at the moment. I don't know. I haven't looked into the economics of things. But socially, look at how often we're talking about what's going on in America, like in our news. We're always talking about America. Always, what's America doing? And a lot of people are rightfully so hoping that with Biden in the presidential seat, politics can go back to being boring. And I don't want it to be too boring. I'd like to keep talking about it. America standards, I know, crazy thought. Crazy concept. America has to hold the standards. Yeah. So, and this is what I worried about. And again, like, there was a Trump rally in Melbourne recently. Guys, you live in Australia. Doesn't, excuse me. You're welcome. Doesn't directly affect you. Why are you marching down the streets of Melbourne carrying MAGA signs? An American flag, like, you know what country you're in, right? You know you're under a liberal government, not American liberal. Very confusing. The Australian Liberal Party is the right-wing party. The Australian Labor Party is the arguable left-of-centre party. People really like the Electoral College, and Biden has been very vocal about reaching across the aisle, and he's terrified that'll mean we have 4 years of some nice-ish wins, but nowhere near we should be with the Democratic presidency, Senate, and House. Yeah. That's what I worry about. Like, the Electoral College allows for some really... allows for voices to not be heard, honestly. There was a pro-Trump march in Tokyo. What for? And yeah, Melbourne of all places. Like, why? This is the unfortunate, disturbing thing about Trump's influence, and I'm glad he has been deplatformed, is I think his reach is far more than just America. And I think he could try to capitalize on that in some way. In what way, I don't know. In what way he could use that, I don't know. But he definitely has a cult of personality that extends far beyond the reaches of America. And that is a terrible thing. That is... the potential for that could be disastrous. But, like, you could have people in other countries who are rabidly devoted to Trump, who will then start committing actions like the Capitol Hill riot. Again, this is all hypothetical, because like I said, he's been deplatformed, he's been shoved into the shadows, he's probably fuming, probably like tearing at the seams right now. His little orange face, his teeny tiny little hands, going off his nuts because he can't access Twitter. Make Bernie Sanders a dictator, please. No, I think he deserves a rest. We need other people, other young politicians, taking up his mantle. And we need to let Sanders retire. And just fade into obscurity, but in a nice way. But I really hope there are more politicians who take up Sanders' ideologies. It's so confusing when you see America, because British conservatives are literally Democrats. You know what I find hilarious is whenever I see people complaining about Democrats on, like, it's always Facebook usually, they call them, like, demon craps. Like, that's the most clever thing you could come up with. Can't criticize them, so call them a shitty public, like, what's this phrase? Call them a shitty primary school insult. Because you got no criticism of their policies. The demon rats! Like, guys, maybe think for a minute. Instead of just screeching, consider, like, the concepts behind certain policies. Bernie was a good point to push things to the left, but Bernie was a little too optimistic and a little too... We'll figure that out when compared to someone like Warren, true. Trump is apparently making a Patriot Party as a third party, so now the US will have Republicans, Democrats, and Trump's fascism party. How well do you think that will go over? What's the likelihood of that actually going anywhere? I wonder. Love that Bernie was simply sitting in a chair and people went nuts. You think zero? I get the suspicion it's going to be exactly like One Nation. Who, by the way, I didn't realize is not actually led by Pauline Hanson. It's led by Mark Latham. One Nation, the white nationalist party here in Australia. For those who are out of the loop. Explicitly a white supremacist party. They hold no political power. Absolutely useless. And they have enforced... or they've attempted to spread the word of effectively bringing back the white Australia policy and all this kind of stuff. Gonna fracture the Republican Party and lose the election? That could be a thing. I have my doubts. I have my doubts it would fracture it that much, but if it does, and it leads to a further Democratic push in America, which again is a further leftist push in... And like we've said before, like, the Democratic Party is not exactly left. They're always... excuse me. They're not exactly left, they are more right of center. Especially Biden, especially Harris. Forgot her name for a second. You would say the same, but Warren stayed in during the primary, so was it two siphoned votes? When it was clear she had no path to leadership. When it was clear she had to path, and then called Sanders a secret sexist, which tanked him in the US media cycle. Yeah, I've had some questions about Warren for a while. If Trump makes a party, the Democrats will always win and have no competition to push left. Do you think so? I don't know. Because how does the voting policy work in America? Like, if you vote for a party, if you vote for Trump's Patriot Party, whatever you want to call it, if you vote for Trump's Patriot Party, here in Australia, what happens is, like, the votes get tallied at the end of an election, and if a certain party didn't get a certain number of votes, like, you vote based on a numbered system, so you vote for Party A, Party B, Party C, Party D, Party E, Party F, etc., and you number them. You say, I'm going to vote for the Greens as number 1. But if I don't get the Greens in, I'm going to vote for the Pirate Party as number 2. If they don't get in, we'll go Labour, number 3, and then so on. You number them, right? And then it basically takes the votes of the parties that didn't win and categorizes them into the next available option you voted for. So your vote gets tallied. So my vote would go to Labour, probably. Is that what happens? Or Americans can't get how that wouldn't work? In America, we have what the Americans call ranked choice voting. Yeah, it's kind of sort of like that, is it? I don't know. I don't know American voting systems. John Money, who's John Money? Hey, Mikey P, how's it hanging? Ton of regular ass people at Trump called us. Your neighbor hung a huge friggin' Trump banner on their house. It was goofy as hell. And the thing that gets me is, like, again, going back to the thing of the international cult of Trump. It's like, why? Like I've said, you know, I do believe that Trump having more influence is bad because it does have... America's politics does have an influence on the greater world. Oh yeah, Jacinta, you said you like Pauline Hanson. Why do you like Pauline Hanson? This is making me question you as a person, Jacinta. Okay? We don't stan that red-headed fuck. Alright? And I do say red-headed, not ginger. It's like fire on her head. I thought you might be kidding, honestly. Trump wasn't bad for American economics. Trump was bad for American fascism. Trump was bad for driving people towards hateful rhetoric. There's a lot of other reasons beyond the economy. Fuck the economy. America needs to move away. The world needs to move away from capitalism, first and foremost. And he's demonstrably bad for the average American, which is demonstrably bad for a lot of other people outside of America. Again, the influence America has is not nil. And if people start seeing and being influenced by policies that America makes, and they start voting in democratic nations like Australia, allegedly, and they start voting in favor of policies that are explicitly regressive. Again, I'm going to call them what they are. They're regressive. That's what conservative means, by the way. I don't know why people identify as conservatives, or maybe I do, because let's face it, the reality of the conservative political ideology is one that explicitly favors a white supremacist narrative. They have this ideal 1950s nuclear family setting in their head. Everyone's a Christian and goes to church on Sundays and wears their suits and their fedoras. The women stay home and are homemakers, and the men go off to the office. And all that bullshit. Like, they had this pretty little American suburbia perfection in their head. And conservatives are always on the wrong side of history. Exhibit A.
You are now one of
an anonymous gift. Tier 3 sub to Ren. An anonymous gifter gave Ren a tier 3 sub. Enjoy. I don't have tier 3 emotes. I'll add a tier 3.
We hope you enjoy
Kill
your
Dog
stay.
Zero. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. How you doing? Still are. What were you saying? Trump was terrible for American economics. See, wealth gap. This is the thing. It's like, why do you guys care so much about the economy? Consider the fact that the economy is explicitly designed to benefit not the working class. Just dropped my rock. Sorry. And just startled myself with it. I'm going to put it down. It's not designed to benefit the working class. It's designed to benefit the people who are controlling it. Who are manipulating the proletariat into being dumb. You're not going to have a workers' revolution under a Trump administration. You need SOCDEM with a good education system, compassion and care. Ideally. Ideally. Scandinavian SOCDEM. If I've understood correctly. What? I missed that. Hang on. Totally okay with capitalism if you have some die-hard safety nets in place to keep people safe. Ensure everyone... Yeah, no, that's socialism. That's socialism. Capitalism. I'm reading Das Kapital at the moment. Capitalism is the explicit notion that those who own the means of production are working their workers, working their laborers to the point of excess. They're overworking their laborers to the point of excess production, and that excess production goes right into the coffers of the owners of the means of production. And none of that, again, the trickle-down economics thing, total bullshit, never happens. All of that profit goes all the way up to the top and never goes anywhere. It stays up there. And in a socialist situation, in a socialist democracy, the means of production would be owned by the laborers, would be owned by the proletariat. Socialistic ideas in the American government, though, just because they've been tried and failed in the past, doesn't mean you give up on the idea. Doesn't mean you go for the worst available option. That's not like the next best thing. You know? Just because something was tried and failed in one circumstance. One of us. And now we've got a tier 2 sub to Jacinta. Anonymous, well, both of you can now enter the sub lounge. By the way, I forgot about that. Sub lounge. Grab yourself a Moscato. That's all I've got. Or is that Pinot Grigio in the bucket?
You are now one of us.
Do you know? No one over there. I can't do that joke anymore. And Soul Reaper tier 2. Oh my god. Who is giving me all these fucking more than tier 1 subscriptions? You anonymous fuckwit, I love you. Can I say that I love you, Uwu? My god, you can parasocial relationship with me, okay? Who's the shitheel who was super racist, super anti-Semitic, but still had one good idea to ensure people had more time off and cash to spend? Stalin? I don't know. Or are you talking about Hitler? Doesn't have free healthcare, doesn't have good minimum wage, doesn't have free housing, doesn't have a safety net. Exactly. And even then, like, I don't even have a safety net. Cool cyberpunk stuff. Do I like Cyberpunk 2077? Is it a good game? Do I enjoy... Yeah, I love cyberpunk. I'm totally... You know, I'm all of the cyber, none of the punk, honestly. Although there is something I'll bring up on my Amazon wishlist. Which, by the way, is in my link tree if you want to buy me something. I think it's in my link tree. Somebody check my link tree and see if my wishlist is linked in there. I think it is. There is something fucking stupid that I don't need. Okay, let me clarify this right now. I do not need these. By any stretch of the imagination, I do not need these. At all. I do not need these stupid fucking things. But I want them though. They're $40 fucking dollars. Oh god, they're so dumb. I would wear these on stream, absolutely. They've got lights, like... Fuck me, Dad. Let's cyber. America needs to fix its education system, its healthcare, and repair its infrastructure, which gets a grade of D+ from the Society of Civil Engineers. American incomes are high. The US has record unemployment and poverty rates, by the way. Can I mention that? Just because... And I think those incomes are averaged out as well. Dumb has a time and place. Well, true. And this stream is nothing but dumb. Sometimes we're intelligent. Yeah, what happens to those who aren't earning now? What happens to the people, the millions What happens to the millions of people who live below the poverty line and cannot get out of it? Like, let's be completely and totally honest with everyone right now. There are people here in Australia, there are people over in England, there are people all over the world, but especially in America. There are millions of people living below the poverty line, who are homeless, who are living in tents on the side of the road, who have no upward momentum whatsoever. There's no way to get them out of poverty in America's modern system. Gingerbeard man. I almost said gingerbread man. How often do you get that, gingerbeard man? Welcome to the Rogue Room. Sit down, grab a drink, and chill out with us. They're covered by the welfare programs. Obviously not well enough. A tent. Living in a tent by the side of the road, or living under a bridge, is not covered by anything. Aside from the bridge or the tent, which is not a fucking, like... No. I hate the house I live in. I do. I loathe it. But at the bare minimum a person should be living in is a house the size of mine. Or like even the house I used, literally the next unit over, which is just a 1-bedroom. The bare minimum people should be able to live in. Can't rely on people's goodwill to help poor people. Yeah, no. That's not gonna work. Had friends who had to work 2 or 3 jobs to ensure they could afford rent and groceries. Imagine working 80-hour weeks to ensure you don't end up... Yeah, exactly. Like, how is that a good social economic system? Socio-economic system. There's a word for that. It's called socio-economic. Socio-economy. Did you ever tell me about the Turnpike story? No, you didn't. Which Republicans and... Yeah, Republicans and Democrats have been trying to cut welfare for years. I'm amazed there hasn't been... Has there been any strides in that have actually gone anywhere? Did they actually get anywhere in that? Excuse me. Blah. Welfare programs are pitiful here? Yeah, I'm very, very privileged. I'm going to say that right now. And by the way, you get bread all the time. I know, I can imagine. Do you like gingerbread at least? I like gingerbread. I could go some gingerbread. What was I going to say? Fuck. There was a point. Oh yeah, welfare programs. I'm very privileged to live in Australia and have the welfare program that I do. Or rather, like, disability welfare system that I have. So I live in a very privileged situation that I can survive based on a disability program that saves me a lot. Doesn't allow me to save money. I'm still poor as all fuck. Star, cool. Thank you for hydrating me. My water bottle looks really nice, lit up by multiple different lights hitting it. Got like some pink over here, some blue here, a little bit of the other pink over this side. It's awesome. Awesome, I love it. I'm gonna try something. We'll come back to this in a sec. So many notifications. When the moment I'm live, I want to try this. You go red for a sec. How's that for colors? Can live in many states on minimum wage rather comfortably. Given that I am constantly and consistently hearing stories, like Ren mentioned, of people working multiple jobs and barely being able to survive on the multiple full-time jobs they work at, I highly doubt that. Medicare for all would be a fucking godsend. Yeah, absolutely it would. And don't give me the bullshit that America can't afford it either. There's a lot of shit, like, I believe there was a calculation on the subject of the homelessness thing. Let's stick with that for a moment, given how many homeless people there are in America. There was a calculation done that estimated it would cost America $20 billion to sort their homeless situation out, to sort their poverty situation out. It would cost them $20 billion. America has the money. They just don't have the intent. One job at 40 hours minimum wage, you literally can't afford food or water. Go back to smoking Ben Shapiro's. Why is it the hair? Why is everyone why are people smoking the hair of Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson? Group of people had a homeless community with lots of tents so they could sleep and have some safety. Cops and city workers came with trans compactors, tossed a bunch of the tents along with some things like medications and personal belongings still inside into the compactors, and then told the homeless people to move along. Jesus fucking Christ. 1312, a cab. For the record, again, I'm going to bring this up because it's fucking hilarious. The Judy Hopps Nendoroid figurine is number 1312. Judy Hopps from Zootopia, the cop. What? We've moved on from the trans thing. We're talking about economy and politics. Radio Tyson, have a good one. Why are we going back to Joanne Rowling? We're talking about economy. I can't remember my own rules, dude. I legitimately cannot remember my own rules. This is a dictatorship. Hate speech is not free speech. Number 3, don't derail the conversation. Trans women in sports is an immediate ban. For the record. No self-promo. No backseat gaming or spoilers. I don't know why I made 10 rules. There's too many rules. Can I condense those again, or do we like having 10 rules? I like the nice round number of 10. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's not a matter of money. Studies show that investing in people in ways like ending homelessness actually add to the economy in the long run. America just hates poor people. Well, yeah, Jordan Peterson has 12. I don't like the red anymore. I'm going to get rid of that. I'll go back to the magenta. 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments of the Rogue Bitch Rogue Room streaming community thingy. If you want to join the Discord, if you're interested in joining the Discord, please do. Just don't be a fucking reactionary cunt. But my transphobia Peterson. I know, that guy. People also need to become more content with having less stuff. I mean, as much as I like my stuff, I agree. I think there is a lot of... You know what this reminds me of? AOC doing her, and I wish I had this, Tax the Rich sweatshirt. Very expensive, produced in America.
You are now one of us.
Ren Camo gifted a tier 1 to Savio Diaz. Was that? Thank you. Thank you, Ren. I gotta do something with this sub lounge thing. Support local business, buy my dirty socks. Jacinta, not trying to hit on you, promise. You are a pretty girl. Okay? Don't go around telling people to buy your dirty socks. They will do it. You will meet some of the internet's most disturbing people. You're gonna go sleep because you're a child in an adult body and you need rest. Radio, Kez, have a good one. We're gonna be wrapping up shortly anyway. We've got like 15 minutes. AOC is your celebrity crush. Always been attracted to powerful women. Oh, bye. She can step on me any day. But yeah, like, people were losing their shit about AOC's Tax the Rich sweatshirt because it was really expensive for effectively just a sweatshirt. And people were angry because it was pissed off. Yeah, people were pissed off because it was expensive. Fucking Christ, that ibuprofen, man. I'm blaming the ibuprofen because I'm out of sorts. Yeah, people were going off their head saying, oh, here's this woman saying tax the rich, but then she's charging so much for this sweatshirt. It's like, the sweatshirt was produced in America. Right? It was produced in America. And as a result, that was the reason it cost so much. Is if they want to bring jobs into America, first of all, you're going to need to have less stuff. Right? And the stuff that you're going to have will be more expensive. If you want to boost the actual economy, produce more stuff in the country you live in, and that stuff should be higher quality and more expensive, but people should also be making enough money to be able to afford those things. But ultimately, you do need to have less stuff. I am, honestly, all of this. There's a lot of stuff that was sitting on, I had 2 of these sets of shelves. And there was a whole other shelf that had a bunch of stuff in it, and I've packed a significant chunk of it away. And I'm very tempted to just toss it or sell it or whatever. It's a bunch of like Disney Infinity figures. Somebody will probably buy those. And other little bits and pieces. And I'm thinking like there's probably a ton of this wardrobe here that you can't see out of shot. I have a wardrobe full of boxes and bags of cables and hard drives and power supplies that are outdated, keyboards, Got a whole bunch of old tech that I'm like, what am I using? What do I have this for? We don't need more stuff. I need to throw out tons and tons and tons of stuff. We need to minimalize. I need to minimalize, even though I want more lights. Apologies for derailing the conversation. No, you're fine. Are they an organ donor? Too cute for someone who can't give them their heart. Oh my god, dang, thank you. It was definitely a weird way to go about that idea. But thank you. You can get dinner in Albuquerque for $4, but it's an 8-hour drive to the nearest real city. That place is a bin. You wish you could live in a place where third parties were an actual option, but the Green Party sucks, Libertarians suck, most third party options suck, and if any of them got any serious power, you'd be terrified. It was corny. It was nice, though. You can get an American-made sweatshirt, but is it of good quality? Here's the thing. Have a good one, Dank. Thank you so kindly. I appreciate that. No, I don't have a significant other, by the way. I'll throw that out there. I'm single, but I'm not, again, not ready to mingle. The weirdest chat you've seen in a while. I like it. It's good. It's fun. Donate to my coffee. Over here, buy me a microphone. Let's get platonically married for the taxes. It's only gonna get worse with automation, yeah. But like the $20 sweatshirt that you buy, this is the Samuel Vimes Boots Theory of Economics. Right? Have you heard of this? I believe it was written about by that guy what did the Discworld stuff. You could buy a $20 sweatshirt and it might last you a year or two, maybe. And it'll start to wear and it'll start to get holes in it. But you buy the higher quality sweatshirt, you buy the $50, $60, $100 sweatshirt, whatever. Well, there's a cutoff. You know, there's a point where buying the more expensive product is just buying a brand name, and the quality has a threshold where it stops. You know, you get to a certain point where you're just buying a brand like Mark Zuckerberg and his $400 grey t-shirts, which, by the way, are $700 individually, but he buys them in bulk. But if you, like the boots theory is that you could buy a cheap pair of boots to work in, to walk around in, and it'll last you a year, right? You can buy a cheap pair of boots, last you a year before they wear out, and you can start feeling the cobblestones between your feet. Or, you know, you buy the cheap pair of boots for $50, right? But if you buy the $200 pair of boots, it'll last you 10 years. But in the meantime, you keep buying a new pair of boots every year because you wear through them. And by the end of that 10-year period, you've bought $500 worth of boots because you don't make enough money to buy the $200 pair of boots. You can't save the money being in a lower income situation. Buying the cheaper quality thing is often more expensive because you got to keep buying that same thing over and over again to stay on top of things. What is this song? It sounds very dramatic. What is this? This is very, very dramatic. What? It sounds like I'm at the end of a rom-com. What's going on here? Running towards my significant... What the fuck? Harris, what is this fucking song, dude? Boots and Cats. Yeah, we're gonna beatbox. I'm gonna beatbox now. Or beat some people up. People on the welfare system, usually they use it long enough to get back on their feet and become stable again. Others, however, stay on the government handouts and don't bother looking for a job to further their education. Here's a question for you. Why should it be the responsibility of the person... Oops. Get rid of that. We don't care about Jack anymore. Why should it be the responsibility of a person who was born into a society that they don't agree with the notion of, that they don't agree with the ideas of? Why should it be their responsibility to go and work themselves into... Honestly, generally speaking, work themselves into disability for a system that it explicitly doesn't care about them? Why not live off the handouts? Our welfare payments come down to $40 per day in Australia. I know. Think about that for a minute. Think about how messed up that is. I could spend $40 per day. Easily. On basic necessities in some cases. And oftentimes you are required to spend more than that. Oftentimes, myself as a poor person. As a broke person who wants to buy a new camera, 95% of my income the moment I get it goes to bills. Straight away. Rent, internet, phone, electricity. I calculated this recently. Why should it be the responsibility of all the other people in the economy to provide for the people who don't want to work? Because America can afford it. Quite frankly, all of the money that the capitalist society that rules America, the government that has the billions and billions of dollars that again could cure poverty in America, but they choose not to. They actively decide not to. They actively decide to seek out and shut down homeless camps rather than offer those people food, shelter, basic necessities. They would rather punish the homeless. Yeah, food, shelter, medical care should be basic human rights. You should have the ability, without needing to slot into some little pigeonhole in society, you should be able to survive and have all of those basic necessities covered. A house with 4 walls and a roof, not a tent. You should be able to feed yourself 3 square meals a day. You should be able to have warmth and comfort. And that should not be a problem in a country as wealthy as America. What happens if everyone decides they don't want to work and there's no longer anyone to supply money for the welfare system? What happens if eventually automation forces all those people out of work in the first place and they don't have the income to survive because they never provided a system whereby everyone is sufficiently covered for all of their cost of living expenses? What happens if America starts automating the fuck out of everything, probably internationally, honestly, and less jobs are produced in America, less and less people have the ability to earn an income, and more people end up in poverty, in homelessness, in all of those things. I mean, the pandemic has already shown certain... The pandemic has honestly shown certain jobs don't even need to be done at a workplace, furthermore. That's another issue entirely. But yeah, welfare life is not glamorous. Welfare life is not fun and exciting and thrilling. I am very fortunate to be able to, once in a while, treat myself to a piece of attire, maybe. A $30 dress is the most recent glamorous thing I bought. Well, and that, which was also $30. And the dress was bought like 2 weeks ago. Like every 2 weeks, I can maybe buy myself $30 worth of a potential luxury. Or I could sit there and put that towards groceries. Slightly more groceries. Because, quite honestly, there are certain household items, certain foods, beverages, and all that. $30 doesn't cover much. Not worth worrying about. Yeah, that's never going to happen.
That now situation. One of us.
Never going to happen. Ren, thank you for gifting a tier 1 to Gingerbeard Man. Gingerbeard Man. What are my subs at tonight, anyway? What are my subs at? How did we get onto this? This was not on the agenda for tonight, but I appreciate the discussion. Thank you so kindly. Welcome to the Sub Lounge. We're at 38 subscribers. 46 sub points. Which is kind of insane to me. 46 sub points because we've had multiple tier 2s and tier 3s. It was until recently, I think there was only like 1 tier 2. And I was the only tier 3 because I get that by default. I've got to add tier 2 and tier 3 emotes. I will try to do that after the stream. I'm going to make maybe the Gold X a tier 3 emote for the time being until I find a good one. Please help yourself to some Prosecco. Or some Sauv Blanc. Or some apple. There's an apple over there. You can have that if you want. Run as fast as you can. Can't catch me on the Gingerbeard Man. Oh gosh. I gotta do something better for subs. Honestly. Money shouldn't be a determination of worth. Everyone should have a home, food, water, and comfort. The second one person who's left behind is the second the system failed. And capitalism is a failed system. By its very definition. Just because you are providing, again, like we've said before, basic Marxist theory, just because you are creating more surplus than you need does not mean the system is successful. Just because you've got more points than the other guy has does not mean the system is more successful, especially if there are people living under that system who are struggling and failing and are dying. Could you name a podcast? You could. You definitely could. Drop it in the Discord. Drop it in the Discord and I'll have a look. Not opposed to UBI. We were going to vote for Yang had he made it that far. It's a shame about Yang. There was no way he was ever going to get in. Yeah, UBI is the beginnings of it. Like the $2,000 checks should be a monthly thing for all Americans because America can afford it. Again, America has the money for it. Or all Americans who are below a certain income threshold, personally. I do believe there are certain Americans who are so wealthy they do not need the fucking $2,000 a month checks. For goodness sake. He is refreshing. Never forgive Mitch McConnell for as long as you draw a breath. I wish every Mitch McConnell a very die. Well, just that Mitch McConnell. Just bitch McConnell. I wish Mitch McConnell a very die. UBI would be amazing, but the media took what they could from Yang and never gave him a fair chance. Which is what the media does. Tell me your favorite cocktail. I don't know. I haven't drank cocktails. I have no idea. And Calgar is supposed to make me a cocktail at some point in the not too distant future. We're going to meet up. And I've got to go visit Cat's Kitchen at some point. I'm going to have to contact these people and actually make these connections. I mean, I talk to Calgar often enough, and the idea is I will eventually go to his place. And I think I'm going to stream Demon Souls at his place. And it made America the richest country in the world. For what? It made America the rich... Well, and even then, it's not... I don't think it is the richest country in the world. I think it's actually incorrect. I think China is. So, yeah. Imperialism and murder made it... Is it the richest? I'm not sure on this. I think it might be. But the fact of the matter is, if they are the richest character... I'm tired. It's 11:56 p.m. And I've taken ibuprofen, which has knocked me for 6. If... America is the richest country in the world, then why is poverty a thing in America? Why does China, a communist society, have lower poverty rates? Fucking hell, I can't talk. I apologize. Yeah, why does China have lower poverty rates than America? If America is so great and America has so much money, so much power, and has the ability to change all of these things, to completely demolish homelessness. Again, $20 billion. That's the price of homelessness. That's the price of poverty in America. They could fix poverty in America for $20 billion. Do not tell me America does not have $20 billion lying around. China is a dictatorship where you can be jailed for speaking against the government. Different issue. Poverty is a minimal thing over there. The American government is and has been for a long time a terrorist organization. That's the source of power. Not the that is true too. I hadn't even thought about that. America seizes wealth. America doesn't produce it. They seize it. They take it. They always have done. It should be entirely unsurprising. And yeah. It's like 11:58 p.m. and I need to go to bed. Is there someone else I can drop you guys off on where they're talking about capitalism and its failings? I promise I will continue reading Das Kapital, even based on what I do know, which is quite a bit. Can I Twitch raid Gravel Institute's latest video? Which is about capitalism on that subject. Who can we go to? I'm tired. I raided Fragile Machine lately, so I won't raid her again. China is a bad example. They are a bad example, but in terms of poverty, there are lower poverty rates in China. That's not the major point. Grizz is doing Super Mario World as expected. I don't know who this person is. I have a lot of people I follow where I'm just like, I don't know why I'm following you. I've never watched their content. Why do I do that? Who said poverty isn't a thing in China? Oh yeah, China did. Well, true. Oh, fuck. Why did my followed list just change? Twitch is fucking around on me again. Do you guys have anyone in mind we could raid? I'm tired. Oh, well, Nondescript is playing. Stop it, Twitch! You fuck. Goodness gracious me, it keeps scrolling on me.
Like American Dad.
Hold up. The Nondescript Midnight is playing Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. How about we go raid them? Because Nondescript seems cool. They've been in stream a few times. Don't harass them about fucking capitalism, for goodness sake. US cut 10% from its military budget. You could say, yeah, I know. That's another thing. Like, the US does not need the military budget that it has, by any stretch of the imagination. What else have we got? What have we got on tomorrow's stream? Tomorrow is back to 6 p.m, so I won't be live this late. So if you guys are interested, please check out the schedule, which is generally speaking accurate, which is down below. go to my YouTube. It now has that. Exclamation mark YT if you want to follow subscribe to my YouTube and watch my videos. I've got another one in the works. The newest video cancelled, of course. Check that one out. Join the Discord. I don't know why I haven't got the Discord link in the socials thing, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. Tomorrow, we shall be live again, and I'll try to come up with some topics. I haven't thought about tomorrow's stream yet. I'm too tired. I'm looking at where my camera used to be between my monitors. It's not there anymore. I'm looking. It's not there anymore. You're over there now. Hi, babies. Alright. I'll be heading off. I'm gonna try to read some feminist theory or some bullshit. I don't know. Have a good one. Love your faces.